Ho, ho, ho. Hello. Welcome to Christmas Draft Day. I'm going to cut right to the chase. This is the first time we've had all 5 hosts since the Disney one. So I'm just going to bring them all out at once. We got Maddie Christmas, Zaddy Christmas, Kelsey the Christmas Elf, and Chad Pringle, a.k.a. Matt Chapmond, Zach Love, Kelsey Kilpatrick, and Chad Webb. All here. These are all the hosts of the Dyl Pickle Movie Network. Kind of fun. We haven't done this since the very first draft day. And we said, you know what? Let's make it the most complicated draft ever and make these categories that can bleed into other categories, and it's going to be a grand old time. But I'll start with you, Matt, because I brought you up first. Matt, you excited? What is Christmas mean to you?
What does Christmas mean to me?
Yes, you're Matt.
Oh, that's I was making sure that's what you said.
I'm kidding. Hey, it's all the hosts, so we're gonna shoot the shit today. It's gonna get fun.
Man.
It's gonna get crazy.
I'm leaving. No, I'm kidding. Christmas is. I love Christmas. Christmas is okay. So there's a span of the year. It goes from my late sister's birthday on August 30th through January 1st, and it's just like the best period of the year. Everything else in the year sucks. That period of the year is awesome, and it's because it includes things like Christmas, and I love Christmas, and I've always loved Christmas, and I love it very much, and I'm very excited for this draft.
Cool. And Zaddy Christmas, what does Christmas mean to you? Oh wait, I gotta ask one more question, Matt. Who's your favorite movie Santa?
Okay, so I've always had a favorite, which is Edmund Gwynn, but recently, and this is not just a plug for my other show. Recently, I have discovered that I think John Call from Santa Claus Conquers the Martians is one of the best, like one of the most accurate feeling Santas in all of movies. But I will use this as a excuse to plug my show. Watch Frame Wreck on Christmas Eve.
Coming out Christmas Eve. This one will be dropping Wednesday morning. Mac and me will hopefully be dropping Wednesday night or Thursday morning, and then we will have our Christmas Eve. So a lot of fun Frame Wreck stuff coming. But Zaddy Christmas, what does Christmas mean to you, and who's your favorite movie Santa?
Oh, Dylan, this is literally my favorite time of year. I have, over the course of the last 3 years, the Christmas music starts playing earlier and earlier and earlier. And I think, you know what? It just is a nothing can be all that bad during Christmas time. The holidays are different for everyone, and it can be a little bit rougher, but like there's something about like the cold air coming in, the like lights on the trees and the wreaths. It's just so calming. It's like if I could have Christmas up in my apartment for forever, that's what I would keep it all year long.
Yeah, love it.
I'm excited. It hopefully will be maybe one of our last Christmases with just my wife and I. We'll see. That's the next part of the phase of life.
Yeah.
Kelsey's like,
yep. Wait, you're gonna have a baby? Is that what you're?
We're gonna get a roommate.
No.
Gonna get a second wife.
Could you imagine that this is how I announce? No, she would kill me. No, but that's where it's a time to be thinking about like new beginnings and things.
Or like a pet. Like you're gonna get a pet.
Or like a pet.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not in that stage of life at all.
Zach,
you said kids, and I said what?
Yeah,
my favorite Santa. I know it's cliche. It's Tim Allen.
All right, very good answer.
That's my Santa.
And this is a great segue because we have someone who is going to be spending his last Christmas with just his wife because he's expecting, well, not him, but his wife, Chad Kringle. Hello, soon to be Daddy Christmas. You'll get that title next year.
Chad, pregnant?
I assume you can say it because it has been posted on social media. So
Oh yeah.
I can edit it out if you would like me to.
No, it's public.
Chad, I know this means a lot to you. So what does Christmas mean to you, sir? And who is your favorite movie Santa?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been my favorite holiday. It's so magical. I don't know. I mean, Zach kind of said it all. Matt said it all too. Like, it's just like there's something else in the air. It's very special. There's just cheer everywhere. And yeah, it's like even earlier and earlier, I'm starting to like listen to more Christmas music. It's like, as soon as, Santa comes to the Macy's Day Parade, I'm like cranking up that Ariana Grande, Bublé, Mariah Carey, all that stuff. Favorites, and yeah, I do dub myself the Christmas fiend in some circles. But yeah, my favorite Christmas Santa would also be Edmund Gwynn, Miracle on 34th Street. But my backup, like my second, my modern one is definitely, I agree, Scott Calvin.
Nice.
All the way.
Scott Calvin.
And Kelsey,
Scott
the
Calvin,
Christmas
baby.
elf, who also, spoiler alert,
Wow.
just won again a championship for the Marvel Trivia Belt. She is the reigning and still champion. Congratulations, Kelsey. This is like
Congrats.
an end of the year, not just a Christmas show, but like
you.
kind of like
Thank you.
hey, look at what a great year it's been. Kelsey,
Yeah.
what does Christmas mean to you? Who's your
Sure.
favorite movie Santa? And yeah, that's it.
Christmas
That's the only questions I have for you.
to me, it's all about the warm and fuzzies. It's all about getting cozy and drinking hot cocoa and spending time with your friends and family and your loved ones, and obviously giving. It's the season of giving. It's giving. It's giving.
Now, Kelsey, do you still
It's really
enjoy
giving.
do you still enjoy hot cocoa even when Tom Hanks isn't serving it to you via musical number?
Not as much, but I do enjoy it. I've
Okay.
had hot cocoa so much this season. I'm living because I don't drink coffee. So when I wake up and it's winter, I'm like, you know what? I can wake up and have hot cocoa. That's like the same thing as having a cup of coffee, right?
I'm
But I feel so dumb now because everyone took my favorite Santa, which is obviously Tim Allen.
well, I got a different
Not
one.
to reveal my cards too much, but Dyl, please tell us yours.
Yeah, no, I mean Christmas. It means to me everything it means. To
What
y'all.
does it mean?
It's Ed Asner and Elf, baby. That's my favorite movie Santa. Just like if I had to be plucked out of a little bag of
Good
toys
call.
with my little diaper, and someone had to find me, I'd want it to be Ed Allen.
I mean,
Ed Asner.
he's the only one that will warn you about peep shows.
It's
Right,
true.
exactly. Yeah. So this is how it's gonna work today. It's gonna be a little trickier because the categories are a little broad, but that's okay. There will be 5 rounds total as always, but a random draft order will be selected. Obviously, we know how that works. Draft is snaked. You all know what that means. You are drafting. Oh wait, this is for the last draft. The performance is not characters thing is something I should have deleted. It's okay. For this particular draft, each person must draft the following: 1 Christmas classic. So this is anything pre 1985. 1 modern Christmas classic, anything after 1985. And if it is 1985, I think we're going to put it in the modern category. Unless there's a debate, then we can fight it when we get there. But I don't know if there are many that actually were in 1985, so I don't think it'll be a big deal. 1 animated Christmas film. Again, very broad, but very straightforward. Any form of animation too. It does not need to be computer or drawn. It could be claymation, whatever. 1 Christmas special / short / TV episode. So anything that's like, brief Christmas watching. You can throw it on before work or something like that. 1 Christmas adjacent film. This is going to be the most like broad category where you might see some vetoes. This is where like you would draft your genre films that don't necessarily have all the qualities of a Christmas movie, but may still take place on Christmas, or maybe it is a longer film, but there's a key scene during Christmas, or maybe it's a Christmas film, but other people might not consider it a Christmas film. And for the sake of the graphic and not pissing people off, you want to just draft it in that category. That is okay too. Again, it will cross over. There will be crossovers. And a film, if it does cross over in multiple categories, please specify which category you pick it for. You could end up picking 5 animated things, but just specify which animated thing is in which category, for example. Even though I don't think that'll happen, but we'll see. If anyone disagrees with the eligibility of a pick, if someone thinks, oh, that's adjacent, or that's not adjacent, or that's animated, that's not animated, whatever, you can veto, but you would need 3 of the 4 votes to veto. So, veto wisely. I guess anyone could veto any pick. There's not a limited amount of vetoes, but still. So I've got the wheel here. Yes,
can I ask a question? For Christmas adjacent. I know this is something that we could have discussed, of course, in the Discord that
That's
I
okay.
forgot.
We'll do it now.
Is it strictly film, or can it be like a season of television, perhaps?
Why don't we get there when we get there? If someone feels like they need to veto, they can. But I would say it might, if you present it in a way that works, then it works.
Can it be a commercial?
I'm going to say no for that.
Is it the Budweiser commercial?
No. But I think I know.
Such a good commercial.
I think I know where you're going with it, but maybe we might veto it. And if you veto it, you can always pick 1 episode from that season for your TV episode. We'll see. But let's see when we get there, and we can always veto it. And I'm sure it'll be a fun conversation.
I like the way you're thinking. I won't veto it.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know where you're going, but it's okay.
there's a couple of things.
Yeah,
I actually,
that's okay.
it's
Well,
more than one thing.
We'll get there when we get there.
Nervous.
All right. And the Christmas fiend himself, Chad, is going to have his
Damn
pick.
it.
Does he want to go first? Does he want to go second, third, fourth, or fifth?
I'll go first.
All right.
He's the luckiest
Chad
guy on
getting the
show.
first overall pick, and I do want to mention while we're at it, I do believe that Chad and Brian Nussbaum tied in our last draft for the winners. So congrats, Chad. You had the first overall pick then. You ended up winning in a tie. We'll see if you win it again with that first pick. Congrats, Chad. I forgot to mention that. I have to keep remembering
I don't know what 1-1 is here, so I'm interested to see.
Yeah. And Matt, you are going to have your pick at which point in the draft you want to be. You want to be second, third, fourth, or fifth, Matt?
Oh man, this is tough.
This doesn't happen to you normally.
It doesn't. Here, okay. I need to explain why this is tough because I need to know where Dylan is going to determine where I am going.
Oh boy. Okay.
So, actually, I'm gonna. Oh fuck. Fudge.
Family show, Matt. Family
Jingle.
show. For fuck's sake.
I'm gonna
Son of a
go.
nutcracker.
I'm gonna go second.
All right.
Yeah,
So
okay.
keeping you where you are.
All that for that.
I'm
Now, don't you
going
start, boys.
to. Oh, I thought it was going to land on me.
Oh
All right,
my
Kelsey,
God, bro.
Kelsey in the pink. What are you gonna go, Kelsey? Third, fourth, or fifth?
Oh, snickerdoodles. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go third.
All right. So you're gonna be up there. So
Probably
it's between
dumb.
Zach and me, not to be confused with Mac and me. This month-
On
this month's
Wednesday,
Frame Rate.
Facebook.
Bro,
Facebook
this is the first draft all over again. This is exactly what
Alrighty.
happened.
All right.
You're gonna go fourth, Zach.
I don't think I've ever gone. Maybe I've gone fourth. I don't know, but I don't want to. I want to go fifth. I want to close out this draft. So Zach, you're gonna be fourth.
Great.
We love a draft. We love
Dylan
draft
likes
day.
picking back to back, so
I like the
You're gonna
back to
see that
back
a lot.
because sometimes
God.
because the nice thing about the back to back is you get two
I'm-
picks, but you also get to decide the order they're going to be on your graphics. So you just kind of
So
like get a
hard.
more, a feel for it. All right. So, Chad, you are on the clock. What would you like for your first pick?
I feel like I have a duty here.
Big duty.
Yeah, just yeah, big one.
Family show.
All right, you should have done that before the draft, Chad.
Yeah, it's true.
So
I don't have any banter right now. I'm
Oh my
upset.
god.
I feel like I
Jesus.
have because I have like my deepest category is my modern classics,
Yeah.
but I feel like I have to do it here because I think
Yeah,
there's
man.
one film that above and beyond all else kind of
Yeah, man.
captures the spirit of the
You don't even know.
No, I'm so.
Zach,
I'm so.
I don't know where you're going with this because I think there are
Zach
like
is so
30.
distraught.
Oh no,
You're
I
like
think I know
30,
exactly
1-1
where he's
pick.
going.
there's a lot of movies out there, but
There
I just
I'm,
have
like,
like
nervous.
one kind of quote that I'll do. But the children love the books.
Oh,
I'm choosing out.
I'm shocked. Okay.
wow.
Not
I
shocked
did
because you
not-
love it, but shocked because I know
That's
you love so many other
literally
things. I didn't know
that's
where you were going to go.
exactly where I
do.
thought he was
I do.
going.
All right, so that
Okay.
is your modern classic, correct?
That is my modern classic.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think.
I'm
Yeah, it doesn't
surprised.
fit in anything else. So that is
Oh,
definitely my
man.
modern classic.
That's fine
That-
with me. You can have Elf
that-
all
yeah,
you
it's
want,
okay.
Chad.
Fine.
No, that for me is the 1-1 pick. That is the one. that's the-
Wow.
Well, let's hear
We
Chad
can't
talk
even
about it first.
Yeah,
Chad,
Chad,
what do you
go
what do you
ahead.
think about Elf?
It's weird because I'm not going to name other movies, but there's so many movies that I love. But like the more and more I think about it, I just think Elf is the perfect Christmas film. It's weird because I know that a lot of people, or maybe some people, don't love Will Ferrell, the man-child. But I think in this movie, it works so well because it's handled so like in like a genuine manner that everyone else kind of juxtaposed to him being like, serious. And, you can just totally see this man elf touching the heart of Walter Hobbs, the cold, dead heart of Walter Hobbs.
Oh, too soon.
And when he yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
rest
No,
in-
it was a
when
bad
he-
morbid joke, but
Yeah, well,
rest in peace,
We're
Ed
keeping it
Asner and
lighthearted
Jimmy
on
Kahn.
this
I
round.
wasn't
okay?
actually
This is
like
Christmas draft.
meaning that, but
No, I know what
but-
you meant, but
yeah.
I was about to say rest in peace, Jimmy Kahn, and you made an easy segue to it, even though it was a pretty morbid segue on my end.
Tasteless is the word you're looking
Zoinks,
for.
dude.
Shame on me. Shame on me.
No, shame on me. I made the joke.
Right. The my favorite
holiday
scene
season,
that I
boys.
think is my favorite scene that is one of the best scenes in a Christmas film is when he kind of gets Jovi's courage up to sing in front of people, and she remembers what he told her at in the beginning of the movie or towards the beginning of the movie, and she starts to sing and she gets everybody's Christmas spirit up. So much so that Walter ends up singing. That's what lifts the sleigh up. And just seeing Will Ferrell looking over the edge of the sleigh at Jovi, just every time I want to cry, it touches my heart, and it just like really gives me that Christmas spirit vibe. I don't know how many people love this or not. I've heard it both ways actually, but I don't know. Yeah, I agree with Zach. I feel like this was kind of the one.
This is 1-1 in my mind. That I agree with you, Chad. This is 1-1. I mean, like when Christmas time starts rolling around. I mean, this is the gifts, the memes, the images, the statuses everywhere,
The
tweets.
quotes.
This is it. Like in my mind, there is a not to spoil the draft, everyone. This is the Christmas movie. I think I would bet. I think it's the best pick anyone with the first choice could have gone for. If you hadn't gone for it, I would have been like.
There's a couple others. I can see there's a couple others, but
I'll say I would have also picked that, not necessarily because I think it's the best Christmas movie. It's my favorite, but like I also think. For me, I know you said it was your deepest. This is my most shallow category for some reason. Just because also like I tend to gravitate more toward the classics or like television things or something. And so like this was definitely my 1-1 because like I was like, oh, there's only a small handful of modern classics that I like genuinely like adore. So like that's a great pick, Chad. I love the pick.
If the old man can speak for a moment about this.
Sure.
Where is he? I don't
here,
see him.
Right here. Unlike
you're beautiful and you're youthful and radiant.
Listen, just wait until what I have to say here. Unlike everyone else on this draft, I was an adult when this came out. So it doesn't. Okay, let me start with. I didn't really like this movie when I first saw it, and I saw it in the theater. However, it was my sister's favorite Christmas movie, so we watched it. We watched it a lot. Whenever during the holidays. I will say now that I love it. We watched it 3 times this holiday season. We watched it today. My kids wanted to watch it. We watched it today. So it has really grown on me, and it's a annual rotation at least once a year for us now, but it is one that I truly love now. I just didn't really dig it the first time. I will say that the most ridiculous thing about this movie, or in this movie about an elf and Santa Claus, is that all of those kids were in bed watching the news at the end.
Yeah.
Which would never happen.
But yeah, it's a good pick. It's not on my list at all, but only because I knew it was going to go early, and I wasn't going to pick it early, so I just left it off the list, knowing I'd never get it.
That's smart too.
Yeah, this is not necessarily like a pick that I thought might go super early. It's not one that I like. Well, if I don't get it now, I'll never get it. It's just like I was like, I have to pick this now because I love it.
Great.
So.
It's great. Kelsey, any thoughts? You seem to like be a little colder on this.
I don't know. I feel like I could take or leave Elf. Like, I don't know why, like, so many people, and like, I feel like our generation, like me, you and me, Dyl, like, we like love this movie. Like, we love this movie.
Also, like when I talked about it, like the modern classics is a little shallower. It's because like we were 5 when it came out, Kelsey, and it was like, and there weren't a lot of movies. The thing is, there weren't a lot of heavy hitters. heavy hitters that we still consider like classic Christmas films after. Like I think when I think of modern classics, most of mine are the 90s at least. Like this was the one that came out when we were little, so I think like schools would always play this like close to Christmas break on our half days before we go off for
Sure.
the week, you know, like we'd
I
have off the
will be
whole week.
playing
So.
I will be playing it on Friday.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
It's still a bop. It's
Hmm.
still
You know what
it
bothers
wa-
me about this movie? Sorry
What,
to cut
Kels?
you off, Zach. I don't feel like Santa is enough of a presence in this movie. And honestly, when
it's
he
not.
is there, he doesn't stand out to me. Like he doesn't really come across as like a big,
Uh,
warm-hearted, fat, jolly fellow. Like I don't know.
I don't know.
If
I like the
if
hard
I
edge Santa.
I like
I've
when he
been
pulls
told
he
this.
pulls out the knife and he's like, "Watch it, Slick."
Yeah.
if I can
Yeah, he's like
actually
He's a very
I-
modern Santa, and I like my Santa like
This is a
old
modern
and,
classic. That's the
wrink-
category.
wrinkly.
Oh,
I don't
know what?
you like your Santa's old and wrinkly. You have a kink. I get it.
Edmund
I
Gwynn's
will-
pretty skinny too in his movie, I think.
He is
I will say there are a lot of potential musicals out of these movies that we could be naming, but
Mm.
Elf is one of them. And I will say that I think Elf the musical does Santa a little bit better than the movie.
Yes, the
Which
musical
is
adaptation
awesome.
is pretty
Which
good.
is,
Yeah.
of course,
I
we're
will-
not drafting that, but
Right.
If I can put on my cinephile pants for a moment, I will say that you needed a different type of Santa because Bob Newhart was already filling the role of that character in that movie
as Papa Elf.
Yeah, Bob Newhart was
yeah.
already filling the kind, gentle, jolly character in the film.
point.
So I think that the contrast there was important, so that you weren't muddying the characters at all.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect
Yeah.
movie. Perfect movie. I love it. But
I agree.
All right.
all right, cool. Maddie Christmas. What's your
Okay.
number one pick gonna be?
Oh God, I hate this game. And I love it. It's my favorite
I
thing.
hate it here.
I hate it here, but I love it here so much.
I hate
Yeah.
it, but I'm happy to
Daddy
be
hates it.
here.
Here's the thing. I am not going to pick my favorite Christmas movie right now. I'm just gonna pray to whatever God will listen, that it'll still be there when it comes around to me. I am
It
picking.
might not be, but we'll see.
Oh God.
Sorry if that puts doubt in your mind.
No,
Damn,
here-
Dyl.
Actually, I don't know
Why
what
would
Dill.
you
I'm not
say
sure
that?
what Dill thinks is my favorite Christmas movie, but the one thing that I'm picking is because I don't want Dill to pick it. And
Oh, boy.
the reason is because one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time is a Christmas adjacent movie. And I know that this movie is also in Dylan's top 10 of all time
Oh no.
of movies, not just of Christmas
Oh,
movies.
okay, I
of
know
This wasn't going to be
movies
my
in
one
general.
pick, but this was go for it.
So, since Dill has 2 picks after this pick, I have to pick it now, or he's going to take it. And so, I am taking 1960s Billy Wilder romantic comedy, The Apartment.
F you, Matt. That's not the one I thought you were going to take.
That's
That's
not
not
what
my
I
favorite
thought
Christmas
either.
film, but damn, that was my classic.
Thanks for keeping
Is
it PG, Dill.
Matt, is this your classic or is this going to be your adjacent?
I'm taking this as my adjacent.
Okay.
Because it takes place at Christmas time, but the Christmas is not really a factor in the story itself.
Yeah, it could exist without Christmas.
Yeah.
Tell us for those, since it is a little bit of an older film, tell anyone
It
who
is.
may be watching a little bit about The Apartment.
The Apartment is incredible romantic comedy by Billy Wilder, as I mentioned before. It stars Jack Lemmon and oh my God.
Shirley
Shirley
MacLaine.
Shirley MacLaine. Sorry. Good Lord. I was like, oh no, I forgot her name.
And Fred McMurray in a
Yeah.
And
surprising
Fred-
villain turn, which is
and Fred McMurray, which he's great. And it's about a insurance salesman who, or insurance guy. I don't think he's a salesman. He's an insurance guy who rents out his apartment, or who lends out his apartment to his coworkers in order to climb up the corporate ladder so that they have a place to take their ladies. And then I don't want to give anything else away,
Risky.
but it's
Hey.
it's hilarious. It has some of my favorite, like, it has some of my favorite recurring gags from movies. It's really deep and powerful, and it's just a movie that I love so much.
What I love about it too is that like you can remove the Christmas from it and it's still its own thing. Like it is an adjacent. I would have taken it in classic only because I think it looks good on a graphic as like a classic Christmas film. But
Mhm.
I get it. It's totally adjacent in that way. But this is one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I've told you that, Matt, and I've probably told you that, Chad. But like this movie is so good because it's like it's all got all the beats. It's the comedy, but it's also the drama because it gets pretty dark, and that's kind of what I also love about it is it always finds its way back around to the hope and the lightness, even though it is kind of dark at places. And the inciting incident of like this is my apartment. I'm like basically lending it out to my boss and shit to climb up the ladder, and then when he realizes that the girl he loves may be involved in some of this, is like it breaks your heart, but it's also like so engaging to watch, and it moves so well. It's so well written. I love this, and for this movie, I have always used a tennis racket to strain my pasta. So
Oh wow!
Nice.
Look at that. It's a movie that I can watch.
That's a joke, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a movie that I could watch any day of the week, at any time, no matter when the last time I watched it. It's a perfect movie, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Chad,
And
you've
if
seen
you
this.
haven't
Any
seen, if
thoughts?
you haven't seen it, any of you who haven't seen it have to watch it. Go watch it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
Chad, any
yeah.
thoughts?
I mean, Billy Wilder, he knows how to make a movie. That's for sure. The first time I saw it, I didn't like adore it, but on subsequent watches, I have really loved it. The comedy is very, very subtle, but it does have like a lot of like really fun like misunderstandings, like a Three's Company type of vibe, which is pretty cool. And then it does get really sad. It gets really dark, but then I think that his kind of arc is fantastic. One of my favorite arcs, and it's just like kind of standing up for yourself, because it's sad to see someone in his apartment when he's just sitting outside in the cold on a bench.
Yeah, and that's where the Christmas works for it, because it's got that
Yeah.
wintry setting of him like sitting outside the apartment, wishing his
Right.
life could be something different, but knowing it's going to lead to great things. And then when he takes that stand, oh, it's so good, so good. Kelsey or Zach, have you seen this one or no?
I have not.
No,
Kelsey,
I
Why
have
did I
not.
watch this?
Kelsey, trust me as your best friend. You need to watch
Yes.
it. Zach, trust me as the man you love. You need to watch it.
I do love
Here we
you.
go. Billy Wilder's The Apartment is off the board.
Billy
as-
Wilder.
Yeah.
I will mention this
Nope.
that Billy Wilder has made at least three really great love triangle movies. One of them is Sunset Boulevard, but the other two are both about insurance guys who fall in love with a woman.
Double
Who,
Indemnity.
Double Indemnity
Yeah.
is the other one who fall in love with. But Fred McRitchie plays the other
Protagon-
role, the Jack Lemmon role. in
Not
that
really
one.
a protagonist, more
Right.
of like
But
I don't know.
The Apartment and Double Indemnity are both movies about an insurance guy who falls in love with a woman who is with someone else, but they take very different approaches to it, and it would be a great double feature.
Yeah, and that just shows
Oh,
the
yeah.
versatility. He is also
Yeah.
a guy who has had a lot of movies turned into Broadway shows. Some Like It Hot is on Broadway right now,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
Sunset Boulevard was a Broadway hit. So, Kelsey, pick three. You have all the categories to your expense. I wonder where you're going.
Okay, Dyl, don't say it like that.
Oh,
I've been
we'll
sitting
see.
here looking
See
at
if I
my
can read you
list.
like a book.
Okay.
Don't
I wrote down
So-
already, so let's see if I have to cross it
don't
out.
take it.
I don't think that I need to worry about someone taking my special or short. I don't think I need to worry about someone taking my Christmas adjacent. Modern, I feel like you kind of can't go wrong when it comes to a modern movie. So even if someone does take my number one pick, I do have options underneath that I feel good about having there. My classic, I don't know if anyone went the way I went when it came to classic.
Oh,
The only one I'm worried about
no. Oh,
is
no.
I
animation.
wrote it down. I'm going to show it
And-
to the camera as soon as you say it.
We all know what it
Everyone-
is.
Everyone knows what it is.
Take
So
it.
I'm just gonna lock it down right now, and it's the Polar Express.
I
was
wrote it
not
down
gonna
about
pick
5
that.
minutes ago after Matt said The Apartment. I wrote
Wait,
down
was
Polar-
Zach gonna pick that?
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, 100%.
I knew one of you sneaky sneaks was gonna try to rip that from underneath
Not
me.
me.
It was
Listen,
never going to be me.
Kelsey, I don't know if we would have, but I love how
I
much you
literally,
love this movie.
it was 100% what I was about. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Oh.
If she didn't pick it off the board, it was the first thing I was gonna pick.
There you
All right,
go.
so Kelsey, good strategy.
The
Kelsey.
first was Elf. The second was Polar. I'm not having a good time.
All right, Kelsey. Well, you
I'm-
did the strategy right. I read Zach wrong,
good.
and I
I'm
read
glad.
you right.
I'm glad. This is my favorite Christmas movie of all time. This is obviously a movie that you break out the hot cocoa for. You break out your footsie pajamas, you get comfortable, and you just love it. I know some people have a problem with the animation style of this movie, but listen, it's from so long ago. They were just experimenting first with, motion cap and all that. It just brings me back to nostalgic Christmas wintry nights when it used to snow all the time in New Jersey and now it never does.
Climate change.
It just brings me back there. It makes me feel so good inside, so warm. I love it. It's my number one pick. I'm so happy it's on my board. I don't know what I would have done. There's
I would have
literally no
expected
second
nothing less.
option.
Well,
There's no
as soon as
second option for
Wow.
me for
Really?
animation. So I
You gotta
don't
watch
know
more
what I would have done.
animated movies.
No, I appreciate the love for it. I don't have the same
do.
love for it, but it's kind of like I feel this way about that you felt about Elf. It's like this one was like so popular for our generation, but I think it's for the
Mhm.
same reasons that I said. It's because this came out in 2005 and Elf came out in 2003. So like these were the ones that like our teachers were showing us every Christmas, like because it
Yeah.
was like what was hot and
Mhm.
fresh and new on DVD, and they didn't want to go back to the oldies. But yeah, no, I think it's a big one for our generation. Zach, you were
Yes.
gonna pick it. What do you think?
I think the three of you are idiots because it's a perfect movie. It's perfect.
All right.
I agree. I agree.
I could not. I like Elf is to me is the obvious one pick, but I knew in my heart it was probably never gonna be on my board. So I have other options. I have other animated options, but if I'm honest with you, I know how much people don't like the movie, and I think that they're wrong. I think it's perfect.
I agree.
And I
Obviously.
listen. I'm not one of the three cinephiles here. I don't really give a crap about all of that. I think if you asked me to put Christmas spirit and ball it up and serve it to someone on a platter of hot cocoa, this is it.
Platter of
The story is so touching.
Mhm.
Because it's not just listen, you have a children's book that has absolutely zero plot. It has nothing there's nothing to go off of, and somehow they managed to take a story about like your run of the mill suburb kid hopping on this train to go to the North Pole. He doesn't he's starting to not believe in the spirit of Christmas. He meets a young girl who really has the spirit alive, and then they meet this poor kid off of the side of a country road who almost doesn't get on the train, and he I get chills and want to tear up. I had a really hard time. I also have nostalgia for it because I had a really hard time falling asleep when I was younger. Just because I had a lot of anxiety and stomach issues, and one of the things that used to calm me down is that whenever I'm alone and I used to listen to it on my little iPod shuffle
That song's
all
a
the
banger.
time, and
Song's
it's
a banger.
and I just I like Kelsey. I like Kelsey said. I think it just it's warm. It's fuzzy. I
Mhm.
don't think another movie does the inner spirit of Christmas. I said Elf is a perfect Christmas movie because everyone can watch it. Nothing does the inner spirit of Christmas better than Polar Express, and I believe
Yeah.
that.
I'm sorry, I didn't even mention the soundtrack when I was going off my rant, but
Beautiful.
you have when Christmas Comes to Town, that song Zach was just singing, "Believe" by
Josh
Josh Groban.
Groban.
That
Believe.
is literally that
That's
song
good.
is literally the Christmas spirit in a song. Like, come on.
It's so
The
good. You're
children
selling me.
listen.
You're selling me.
It's perfect.
Snow is softly falling. Those
Yeah.
opening lines, you hear the
It's
jingle bells in the
perfect.
background.
I think if you had the
Yes.
little kid with the glasses, the little blonde boy fall off the train in
The
Act
Nick
1,
Kroll
I
kid?
think it might be a better
Who
movie.
cares?
He's so funny.
Oh, that
He's
It's
so
perfect
funny.
for the
annoying.
movie.
The Nick Kroll
you
kid
get
who
on
looks like Nick Kroll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You punch
Oh
your
my,
ticket yet?
stop it.
He's
Um,
perfect.
Okay,
No, it's perfect.
listen.
Go ahead, Maddie Christmas.
The Josh Groban song is great.
Yeah.
I will give you that.
Oh,
I'm not going to
God.
be super negative about this because guess what? Just like Elf, I was an adult when this came out, so this wasn't made for me.
Fair.
Mhm.
However, unlike Elf, it did the opposite thing for me, which is the more times I watch it, just the less I like it. Which is not. I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yum. I will say that becoming a parent has done something to that, because there's certain things where I'm like, oh, that kid's like running, like please, kids, don't get on strange trains. And also
Tom Hanks. I mean, I would
also
Tom Hanks is all the characters.
That's true, but they aren't all nice people in that.
The hobo.
Yeah,
the hobo's a nice person.
I mean, that's probably true.
A lesson.
But without me, should my kid talk to him? No. Also, the one rule they have for drinking hot chocolate is that you should never ever let it cool. Is bad advice. And
kids in the ERs.
Please at least blow on the hot chocolate before you take a drink. Make sure it's cool enough that it's not going to give you third-degree burns. Like let's
put ice cubes in my hot chocolate.
That's insane behavior, Chad.
Yeah, it is.
You gotta cool it down.
I will say that the animation is not my favorite, though. Uncanny Valley thing isn't great, and it was their first foray to that, because I will say a few years later they did make what I thought was a really good movie with that technology, which was Monster House.
They're gonna I thought you were gonna tip another Christmas pick.
No, I was not gonna do that.
I don't know if anyone will do that, but
yeah, I don't think they will. But Monster House a few years later used that same technology, and I think the main reason that worked better is because they went less realistic with it. But so the animation doesn't really work for me. The movie itself doesn't really work for me. That song is a banger. I am so glad you guys love it, and I want you to have it. And hey, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to take any of it. You guys can have it all.
Right, and that's the thing. You don't have to share it.
Thank you, Matt.
I want to share it.
Chad, any last words on Polar Express before you move on?
I briefly want to read a chat between me and Dyl after I watched the Polar Express. Don't worry, it's just like a little snippet.
He's gonna out me as either a real lover of Polar Express or like confirm what I've been saying.
No, we're both positive. Somewhat.
Okay.
So Chad, I did not hate the Polar Express, although the score felt kind of like an Elf copy. Ha ha. Dylan, it's good, right? Dated animation for sure, creepy even, but a sweet story and characters.
Look at that.
Okay.
Chad, I wouldn't say bad, but not amazing either. And then I said I could see how it could be somebody's favorite if they were a kid when it came out.
There you go.
There you go.
Encompasses it
and,
all.
And I was.
Yeah.
I was a child.
I was indeed.
I was gonna say, Zach, you've got to now follow up after getting Elf and Polar Express ripped out from under you, like a rug. What are you gonna go with, though, Zach? You have the whole board at your expense.
There's a lot of great ones left.
There's a lot left that's really good. There's not really been no one's taken a classic. My modern and my animated are gone. They're not. So I sit here and I wonder, do I take? I have something that I think might be Dylan's special, and I think to myself, do I want to chance it and take it from him? Because I'm upset and I want to be a Krampus, or
why are you taking it out on Dylan?
He hasn't taken anything of yours.
Because he's the only one I can do anything to right now.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm gonna spread some Christmas cheer, Zach. I'll tell you right now, I'm not taking a special for the next two picks.
Okay. That's fine. Then
you can take it later. I will give it to you in round 2 if you'd like it. I will not take a special in my next.
I have better specials than the one I think you'll take. But I just can't decide if I want to be a Krampus. So I will not be. I will not be. And I'm gonna take my classic first.
Shit. Maybe I will.
I don't know if this is what Dylan will pick. And it wasn't initially my first pick. But the more I look at it, and now that I've lost a couple of picks, I've got to take it off the board, and it's A Christmas Story.
Okay, nice. Okay. Very good pick. Yeah,
good pick.
And I thought about it. Initially this was like, this should really be the 1-for-1 pick. But you know what? I understand it not being. But again, when you think Christmas, and maybe it's not so much anymore, but without fail, there is one thing that plays endlessly on Christmas Day on pretty much every household in New Jersey that you walk
On
into to
TBS.
visit on
TBS.
TBS, and it is this movie. The lines are iconic.
Mm.
So much so that they made a follow-up that will go unmentioned unless someone if someone has it on their board.
Keep it unmentioned.
Which I
Keep
don't
it
think
unmentioned,
anyone
just in
will, but
case.
I will
Just
say
in-
nothing.
just in-
But I think that what's beautiful about this movie is that it perfectly encapsulates what it feels like to be a child during Christmas time. And that is something that, like, as you get older, you can tend to lose that. I know it's something that, like, I personally over the last couple of years, like, sometimes Christmas rolls around and I don't feel as joyful right away, and then without fail I'll go over to, like, my mom's, or we'll go over to, like, a Christmas party or a holiday party, and this is on, and it when this plays on a TV station, I know it's Christmas, and that tells me right off the bat we're ready to go. We are in the best time of year, and another musical, not as good as the movie, admittedly, but that's not what we're drafting. So who cares?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, Zach. I've actually never seen the movie. I've only seen the musical. So
Interesting.
you probably could have gotten this around too, but that's okay.
What?
Yeah, I've never seen this. I've seen what I've seen from TBS, but that's the thing, is because it's always playing. You
Right.
turn on the TV, it's one scene. You turn it on another day, it's another scene. So, like, I've
I
never
guess
sat down
that's
and watched
fair.
the whole thing, but I've probably seen the whole thing through watching 10 minutes apiece on the week leading up to Christmas. Like, I've seen the pink pajama suit, I've seen him shoot his eye out, I've seen the leg lamp, I've seen all that. So
Reggie,
have you seen?
It's a major award.
Have you seen? But I didn't say frick. I said the word.
Oh no, I haven't seen that. So see, like, I'm yeah. I was not a Christmas Story.
Dash word.
Anyone else have any thoughts on Christmas Story?
Yeah,
It is on TV all the time.
Yeah, the same thing you just said, Dyl, about it was the same thing my wife Carrie said, and that's why we were just watching it.
Nice.
Just a minute ago. This one does seem like it would be a lot of people's choice for, like, kind of a 1-1. Like, this one is Christmas. For me, I actually think the TBS playing it kind of does it a little bit of a disservice, because it's almost like, it's just so overplayed that I'm like, I get it, kind of a deal.
It's kind of like what Elf has almost become too. Like, I feel
Maybe.
like those two are always played just so much. And
I guess
kind
that's
of
true. I guess that's
Yeah.
true. I think for me, it's just because, like, Elf can never really go out of style for me. It never gets old. But for this one, I think because for me, it doesn't seem as much as a classic that'll never go out of style, as it seems just like kind of like a boomer movie. And
that gives it
it's like
his own charm, though.
Well, of course he probably would, because
it
feels like it's the movie that makes boomers feel like they're revisiting their childhood. But for me, it doesn't make me feel that way. But it is cool that Bob Clark directed it, and he directed another really great Christmas movie that I won't mention.
I think,
and there's some
very different,
scary elements in.
I was gonna say, I've never seen
too,
Christmas Story all the way through, but I can imagine the other one's very different. But
yeah,
very different. Matt, any thoughts?
Yeah, old man Matty here again. With your boomer.
Give us your wisdom.
You're not a boomer.
I'm not a boomer, but Gen Z will call me that. It's okay. So
they will.
So listen.
They call me that.
I can see what all of you are saying, but I'm going to be with Zach here on this one. This is a Christmas classic. I actually agree with you, Chad. I agree with you, Chad, in that because all right, this is the first one that anybody besides me has taken that was actually on my list. So I just had to mark one off for the first time. But I will say that I agree with you in that TBS running it every year almost I won't say it cheapens it. I will say that it makes it feel less like a movie and more like a like just part of Christmas. Like I don't know, it's hard to explain. But
It's a
when
plus.
I almost didn't put it on my list because I forgot about it. And then when I did think about it, I thought, well, that doesn't count. And then I was like, wait, why doesn't that count? No, that counts.
It's like a
83.
Yule log.
Yeah, it's like it feels like a Christmas decoration almost. Having said that, I love this movie. We watch it every year, obviously. And yes, I've done the watch bits of it for 20. Come and watch 10 minutes of it every so often over that 24 hours that's playing on TBS. But I will say that there are so many brilliant lines in this movie. It's quotable. It's quotable as hell. Fragile, it must be Italian. And as I just mentioned, as I mentioned just now, it's a major award. I still say that to this day. Let's
not forget the lamp. The lamp. That's
Yeah.
The
iconic.
iconic lamp.
I love
The
lamp.
iconic lamp.
Well, that's I just referenced that twice, Zach. With
Hey, the lamp. You didn't mention the lamp though.
Yeah,
But
I've
mentioned
never
the
seen the
scene.
movie all the way through, so I didn't know those were references to the
Oh
lamp. So
yeah.
thank you, Zach.
Well, okay. When he receives the lamp, she says, "What is it?" He says, "It's a major award."
Oh,
and
okay, I
then
see.
and then
Fragile.
on the front
Must
of
be
the
Italian.
box it
Fragile.
says
Okay.
Fragile.
Yeah.
Fragile. It must be Italian.
She goes.
there's-
I think it says fragile, and he goes, "Oh yeah."
there is a line in this movie that I don't understand why it does. It's almost a non sequitur. It's non sequitur. It doesn't make any sense. He yells it out the door. It's not a finger. And that line became so iconic with my family that we named a dog Not a Finger.
What?
Yeah.
What is the shortened like nickname? Nada or not a thing? Or
I think we actually called it something
Finger?
else. We called it what do we call that? Well, all of our dogs had nicknames when growing up, so it wasn't. I don't remember which nickname that had because we never called it by its actual name. Anyway, there's so many quotable lines in this movie, and it's so iconic, and it's a great pick. It was on my list. Well done.
yeah, Kelsey, any thoughts before we move on?
Fun fact about this movie, my parents met working at a movie theater together, and their first date was watching A Christmas Story together, seeing A Christmas Story in theaters.
Well,
So
you
cute.
tell Kevin, Kathy, I picked it for them.
I sure will, Zach. They're gonna love that. So obviously this movie is near and dear to not really my mom's heart, but definitely my dad's. He loves this movie so much. This movie just makes me sad because I feel so bad for Ralphie. He's just really like taking shit
He's kind of
throughout
a jerk,
this
though.
entire movie.
Yeah,
And it just like kind of makes me feel bad. There's another Christmas movie that makes me feel bad, but I won't, if someone picks it, I'll let you know.
Listen,
Oh.
be thankful. Be
A
thankful
threat?
we're not doing like a Christmas song draft because literally I would be like, I'm the guy
Lord.
who'd be like, I'm drafting Christmas shoes.
Oh,
Oof.
Yeah, that would be me, everyone. That'd be me.
So
All right.
this safe to say this movie was nowhere near any of my lists really, but I get why it's a classic.
For
All
sure.
good things.
Chad.
Dylan.
Two quick things, if I may.
Yeah,
If you
go
don't think A Christmas Story is a horror movie, just watch Scud Farkas laugh. That's terrifying.
Yeah,
And then
that's true.
the unmentionable follow-up, I actually like a little more.
Cool.
Do you really?
All right.
Pretty cute.
Oh,
That's a cool
Dylan?
take. All right. So, I know we're already almost an hour in and we're not even done. But this is our first round, so I wanted everyone to like really marinate on
God.
each of these picks. But now the next few rounds we can kind of speed up a little bit. Even though this movie is probably going to require some conversation because I'm picking a modern classic, and this is the one I thought Matt was like talking about when he's like, I might take Dylan's, I might take Dylan's, I might take Dylan's, and I was like, no, he's got the machine gun, ho ho ho! I'm picking Die Hard as my modern classic, and it is not just
All
a
right.
modern classic in the sense of a Christmas movie because it is a Christmas movie, and if we want to have that
Kelsey's
debate, we
gonna
can.
do that whole
If
thing.
we want to have a Christmas movie
All
debate,
right.
we can. But I'm picking it because it's just one of the best movies ever made. But I before we argue, unless anyone wants to veto now,
No.
Okay.
I'm not
Kelsey,
gonna
we all agree.
don't
We all
do
agree.
this. Don't do
Kelsey,
this.
have you finally seen it, Kelsey?
Yes, I watched it
Oh,
because
great.
I did the assignment.
Okay.
You
All
said
right. Thank
watch
you.
Die Hard before
Mhm.
draft day, and I did.
Mm.
And I thought we were gonna have like a whole debate about it, whether or not it's a Christmas movie, because I'm over here thinking this isn't a fucking Christmas movie. Sorry.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
all right,
Okay,
all
wait.
right,
Can
all
I
right.
can I start it because I
Go
am the
ahead.
one
Go
Go
who
ahead.
picked
ahead.
this, and I picked this as my modern classic because I honestly think the adjacent list is huge because so many movies like feature Christmas in it that like I have a long list of those. So I didn't want to pick this as my adjacent because I think I want to give this its due as a modern Christmas classic. Is Nakatomi Plaza closed except for one floor if it's not Christmas? No, there's probably floors up the wazoo. They're probably not even having a Christmas party up on that floor if it's not Christmas. It's probably an empty building. Yeah, that takes away all the drama. B, is there any reason they would be in Santa hats and have it say ho 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 across his chest? No. Is there any reason it would be playing Let It Snow as snow is falling at the end of the film if it wasn't a Christmas film? Probably not. I get the argument that it is not primarily a Christmas film. It doesn't have Santa, it doesn't have elves, it doesn't have like the stereotypical stuff in it, but at the same time, I think Christmas is such an ideal aspect of that movie to give it the setting, to give the characters the stakes. I mean, it's Christmas, and it's all about a guy who's struggling to connect with his family.
Yeah.
Christmas is all about family. And if that's the argument we're going to make is that this isn't a Christmas movie, then there's another classic, which, spoiler alert, I'm going to pick in round 2. It's a Wonderful Life. Boom. Showing my pick for the classic I'm going to pick. That you
Damn
could
it.
argue is the
Wow.
same thing then, because that doesn't have Santa in it either. That doesn't have Santa in it either. It's just all about family.
Whoa.
So if Die Hard's not a Christmas movie, neither is It's a Wonderful Life, and they both are, and that's why it's my 1-2 pick. And I love that I just segued them, boom, boom. But let's go back to my pick because Die Hard I think is a perfect Christmas movie. I get it, Kels, I get it, and I'd love to hear your side. But that's my passionate opening argument, Kelsey.
If I hold, I just while you're doing,
Go
And
ahead,
It's a
Daddy.
Wonderful Life is my
do-
second pick, and it's my classic. So
I do have a question for you, Cassie, before you rebut on this Die Hard business. I need you to, during this, tell us what does constitute a Christmas movie to you. What elements, and try if you can, please, to remove Die Hard from your mind. Don't do it based on what Die Hard does or doesn't have, but what makes
For
a
sure.
Christmas movie to you.
Okay, first of all, quick question for the group. Am I the only one that feels this way? That Die Hard is not a Christmas movie? I'm the only one in this boat?
Whoa. Hold on. You are not the only one in this boat, but what I will tell you, and the reason why I have not piped up sooner is because truthfully and honestly, I might get flack for this, Dylan never said anything to me.
That's
He
okay.
didn't tell me to explicitly watch it, but he didn't tell you.
Oh, have you never seen it, Zach?
I've never seen it, but I'm going to tell you.
Oh,
Hold on.
okay. Okay.
No.
Oh my
And that's
god!
that's
So
why
I'm
not
really alone here.
Well, no, you're not. So the only reason I haven't piped up actually is because while I have not watched Die Hard, I have watched another form of media that references Die Hard almost episode by episode and has like explicitly tried to call it a Christmas film, and that's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And if I can't trust Detective Jake Peralta, who can I trust? That being said, Kelsey,
That's true.
I will say I would personally not call this a modern classic. I would call this Christmas adjacent.
Oh,
And the reason why I would call it Christmas adjacent, I'm going to try and help Kelsey out because I don't disagree with you that it is a Christmas movie, but I do agree with her that I don't believe this is a modern classic because to me, a modern classic is something that is centered, like it is marketed to me through all forms of like, if it's playing like on Christmas, near Christmas, or gives me that warm fuzzy feeling that Christmas time does, that to me screams modern classic.
All right, so it's a modern
From what
classic
I
because it
know-
makes me warm and fuzzy.
From what I know, but okay, hold on. From what I know about Die Hard, it is more action based and less about the Christmas spirit and more about the action within it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like I said, I've never seen it. I
It
only
is.
know what I know through Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
Mhm.
but I personally would say that this is Christmas adjacent rather than a modern classic.
All right, so would you like to veto?
I would like to hear what Kelsey says first before I
Well,
veto.
here's the thing. I don't think Matt or Chad is going to agree to your veto anyway, so it won't work either way. Because Matt and Chad seem to be in my camp, correct?
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay, cool. So Kelsey, let me hear your side, and I'm not trying to
You
start
guys
like
are
a debate.
nuts,
No,
bro.
I'm not going to start a debate. I would just like to hear you out because this has been like the debated to death conversation, but we've never had it on this channel. So I want to give you the opportunity, as someone who just watched this with the lens of it's a Christmas movie. I would like you to tell me what
Okay.
and kind of go along Matt's requirements too. Like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
makes it a Christmas movie a Christmas movie?
Listen, Die Hard, even completely removed from the conversation, my definition of a Christmas movie is a movie that the plot revolves around Christmas.
Mhm.
Die Hard is a heist movie about these people getting held hostage and these people demanding money and this one guy trying to set everyone free.
The Grinch, right?
Okay, what? No.
I don't know
We
if that's what I got from that statement, but sure.
No, it's just a very similar
you,
premise
Zach.
to The Grinch. What you just
I
described.
think
All right, keep going.
No.
Hold on, guys.
Did you
I
guys
don't-
wait? Did I?
Bro.
I think I said very different words from what
No,
you
keep going,
guys
keep going,
heard.
keep going.
No.
I'm
I
messing
think
with you.
that
I'm
the
messing with you.
plot has to revolve around getting to Christmas Day, getting to Christmas Eve, Santa, elves, magic. It has to revolve around the spirit of Christmas. I agree with Zach where this can fall under the category of Christmas adjacent movie. Now, if we're talking specifically about Die Hard, okay, because that's how I feel about Christmas movies in general.
Kelsey, before
specifically
you
Die
keep
Hard,
going, did you like Die Hard
no.
at least as a movie?
Oh yeah, it was fun. It
Okay,
was
good.
fun.
Okay, so you at least like the movie. All right, so
Yeah.
there you go. Okay, keep going. So
Oh,
it's
yeah,
okay
it
to
was
be a
fun.
round one pick. We're just debating the category, correct?
Yeah, we're just
Okay.
debating the category.
Just making sure you're
Listen.
still on board of the it's good train.
When it comes to Die Hard, you can take that movie and have the plot go the exact same way it does, and it can be any time of the year. It does not have to be Christmas.
Okay.
And
Matt,
all
what-
these little kitschy little Christmas elements are just like, it's all very secondary to the plot of the movie, which is a heist movie.
Okay. If I may, Kelsey, your definition is the plot has to revolve around Christmas. And specifically, you mentioned getting to Christmas Day to spend Christmas, say, with your family, with your estranged family,
Sure.
who perhaps you've lost kind of touch with, and maybe you really want to make your marriage work. Maybe perhaps just saying, if you really
Don't
wanted to make
use
your
my
marriage,
words against
if you
me.
really wanted to make your marriage work, and Christmas time, getting the family together for Christmas being the best way to do that. But someone has just attacked my wife's ex-wife, whatever she is, my wife's Christmas party. And why did they do that? Because every other floor, every other room in that building was
on holiday.
closed that day, except for the one having the Christmas party late at night. No other holiday. Not a birthday, not the 4th of July, not
Could be New
any
Year's.
other.
For real. And you have just, Matt, sorry to interrupt, but you have also just described another thing that landed on my Christmas adjacent that is actually not a film. And I would never have picked it in my modern classics because even though it occurs during Christmas time, the central conceit of the movie is not, or of the series, Kelsey, wonderful champion. I'm sure you can understand what I'm alluding to. Though it occurs during Christmas time, the main theme is not Christmas itself. It is the idea of growth, and therefore it ended up in my Christmas adjacent. Because if I were to put it as far as we're called, right, what you've described, right, I would call that Christmas adjacent because it occurs during Christmas time. However, Christmas is not the main central conceit of what makes it.
I will give you that if it was only what I just described, if it was the disparate elements of this movie separately in movies, that would be true. If you take all of these elements and put them together, because it's not just that. Who's attacking? German terrorists. What are they trying to do? They're trying to bring down the American way of life. They're trying to bring down the very soul of this country, which is Christmas, my friend.
Oh my God.
No,
No.
no. But
No.
here's the thing. It's not
They're just thieves.
it's not just that it meets Kelsey's criteria for a Christmas movie as described.
The only thing it doesn't have
By
is Santa
Kelsey
and Elf,
herself.
and I will
Yeah,
agree
that's
with
true.
that.
But it
Listen,
has Santa
there's
hats and ho ho ho.
There's another Christmas movie. There's a classic Christmas movie that also does not feature Santa. That is
It's my
100%.
second pick. I just mentioned it. It's a Wonderful Life, right? Is that the
No,
one?
no, I'm
Yeah.
talking about a
But
different
that one
Right.
doesn't have Santa either.
There's
and they're not
another-
even.
there's-
Yeah.
I'm not
There's-
saying it has to have Santa in it. I'm saying that the
And
main
I-
plot needs to involve Christmas.
So
Here's
is
the
It's a
thing.
Wonderful
The
Life a
concept of
Christmas movie?
Christmas.
Is It's a Wonderful
I-
Life a Christmas movie?
I haven't seen It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh.
Okay,
Lord.
listen.
So
'cause
sorry.
No,
here's
it's
the
okay.
thing.
Okay.
Here's the thing.
Listen, if you take it as a modern classic, that just means I get my pick next, which I'm really fine with. I just don't think it's a modern classic. I think it's Christmas
Let me
adjacent.
just round out. Let me just finish up what I was saying about it.
Yeah.
Because all of those things, it meets Kelsey's criteria because they are trying to get to Christmas. He's trying to get his family back to Christmas. Yes, he is. He's trying to get to
Inciting
Christmas.
incident.
It's the inciting incident of the whole movie.
Okay.
But also every reference, every iconic reference in there is about Christmas. The score extensively uses Christmas
Sleigh bells.
themes. Yeah, sleigh bells.
His
And
wife's
Christmas.
name is Holly.
Wife's name is Holly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a freaking Christmas movie. Even all right, everybody, even the driver's name is Argyle, which to me brings up a pattern that reminds me of Christmas.
What?
It's
That's the little bit of a stretch, man. I'll give you.
It
that.
is.
But that,
Why'd you
hey,
say-
you're
All right.
that last one was
All right,
just-
all right.
Listen.
Let's have Chad chime in because Chad hasn't talked yet, and I think he's in our camp. And we're not trying to say there's a definitive answer because some people are always going to say. And I'll tell you this: this may hurt me, but Bruce Willis has even said himself it's not a Christmas movie. So there's an
Oh, yeah,
actor in the
yeah.
movie. So like that's the thing. It
Bruce
doesn't
Willis
have
doesn't
to
know
be.
this movie like we
I'm
know
just
this
arguing
movie.
as to why this is for me a modern Christmas classic. Also because honestly, if I look at all the modern classics I have, Elf is the number one for me, and then after that, my list is a little shallow. I'm not as big on some of these other nostalgic favorites that so many others are. So I'm like, this one is I watch this every Christmas Eve. Like this is a tradition for me and my family. We watch this on Christmas Eve. It is a Christmas party gets. The Christmas party attendants get taken hostage. Man coming home on Christmas to see his family ends up having to save the day, and there's a Santa hat. Like that enough for me that is enough for me. But Chad, why don't you chime in and then we'll move on because we have to move on. But Chad, give us your take.
This is the age-old debate. We have this freaking discussion.
And there's
every
no right or
single
wrong.
year
There's no right or wrong. Yeah.
because so many people love to watch this around Christmas. But yeah, I think that Christmas is just baked into every fiber of this movie. Like, I will give you that it's not a conventional Christmas movie, but I'm still not going to call it Christmas adjacent. Although, if it got back to me, I probably would have picked it for Christmas adjacent because my modern classic taken.
Right.
However,
and I even opened with that too because I said I could take it adjacent, but I have other things I want to take under adjacent. Whereas modern classic was just so shallow for me after Elf was gone, so that's why I picked it there.
This is like my other one for one is Die Hard because it's
It's my favorite Christmas movie.
It's such a perfect movie. It's one of the greatest action films ever made.
Anyway.
I agree, Kelsey.
And I think the biggest
guys,
because you can go through and name a lot of things me, Matt, and Dylan have been naming, including the whole Argyle thing about where he's like, you play some Christmas music. This is Christmas music. And then he pops up the hip hop Christmas song that he's playing. But yeah, I think the thing that really nails this for me as a Christmas movie is not, it doesn't have Santa, doesn't have elves, doesn't have magic, nothing like that, but it does have the central core of family. They've already said that, but that is, when Dylan said that, I said, that's the nail right there for me that makes it a family or not a family film, but a Christmas film is that, the main theme is this man, just he's going back at kind of a last chance to get back with his wife. Like she's already changed her name back to Gennaro, and then at the very end she goes, I'm a McLean, we're a family.
That's a Christmas miracle.
Right?
That's trauma bonding. That's what that is.
Yeah. I mean, I just think also like if you're on the fence, the very last scene after all the papers are flying through the sky, it's snowing down, they're looking up and they're smiling and it's playing Let It Snow. It's like if that didn't confirm it, like I don't hear Christmas music in other movies that aren't Christmas movies. You know, that for me is what sells it too. Is they play Christmas music throughout this movie, and it's like, you know, it's a story you could take place on another night, but why in the world would people just not show up for work in every floor of this building? You know what I
New
mean?
Year's Eve.
And it was a very Grinch thing to do for Hans Gruber to ruin Mr. Nakatomi's
Yes.
Christmas.
And hey, if it had said if it had said I have a machine gun, Happy New Year, then I would have said it was a New Year's movie. But that's the thing. It says ho ho ho. He
All
has
right.
a Santa hat. It's an iconic Santa like Christmas image too. The guy in the elevator. Anyway, I don't want to harp on it more. You're right, Kelsey. You're right, Zach. You're right, Matt. You're right, Chad. That's the
Wait,
thing.
I
is-
just
is it
have a
can be
quick
whatever you
question
want it
for
to be.
Chad.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is that did you make that shirt or
Oh,
is
no, I
that
bought it. I
that's
bought it.
merch? Okay,
It's
I was curious. Yeah, we can talk in circles all night long.
Yeah,
I'm not going
for
to
real.
veto
But
because
do
I'll
you
lose.
understand at least where we're coming from?
I get it, but I don't agree with you. So agree to
That's fine.
disagree.
That's
Agree
fine.
to
That's
disagree.
fine. And Zach, watch it because it even if okay, all said and
I
done,
will.
I think it's a phenomenal movie. And as someone who
my
loves Harry
God.
Potter, I'm
Oh,
shocked you haven't seen it because Alan Rickman,
I'm
it's his
sure.
best performance, even better than
Alan
Chris
Rickman's
Russell.
so
First
good.
performance,
I'm sure.
too.
I'm sure it's. I'm telling you right now. I didn't put it on my list not because I don't think it's a Christmas movie anywhere, but because I knew I wouldn't get it. And I thought I thought about taking it last round, but it just wasn't worth it for me.
Yeah.
'Cause I
I'm
didn't
moving
know
on to the
anything
next one
about
though. Yeah, because we have to keep moving this along because we are an hour in and we just finished round one. So like let's try to make these rounds go a little quicker. But It's a Wonderful Life. I already said it. It's
No.
gonna be my classic just because it's the same idea as Die Hard. It's this man on Christmas. All this shit is going on. He feels at a crossroads in his life, and like the Christmas spirit comes to him by reflecting on his life. It's a different means than Die Hard. Die Hard, he has to like literally save these hostages to find the Christmas spirit and reconnect with his family. But John McClane and oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. Chad, help me out. Jimmy Stewart's
George
character.
Bailey.
George Bailey. Thank you, Matt. But yeah, George Bailey and John McClane kind of start in a similar spot in terms of like where their depression, the buildup of the seasons, and if anything, like the Christmas stuff to me doesn't really come till the very end, but like it's still the whole movie's so brilliant, and it all builds up to that Christmas Eve where he tries to kill himself, and then the angel comes to him and is like, "I'm going to show you through your life." Or show you what you would be if you were not here and what your existence means, because I think that is what Christmas movie is to me. It's all about the spirit, like you said, the holiday spirit, and what that means to me is more of like, why are you here? What is important to you? It's almost kind of like what people think Thanksgiving is also, like, what are we thankful for? Like, who do we want to share these holidays with, and all that stuff. So that to me makes this a Christmas movie, and it's a classic for a reason. I mean, it nominated for Best Picture, came out in the 40s. Like, this is just undisputably a classic. Anyone have any words on It's a Wonderful Life, or it's kind of straightforward? But Matt, why don't you?
I do. I actually have said this several times, and I say it every year, and it's more true every year. And that is that the older I get, the more I understand why George Bailey freaked out that day. And it just becomes truer and truer the further I get. That's what makes this movie so great, is it's so relatable. Even if you've never been through what George Bailey's been through, you understand where he's coming from. I think it's the brilliance of filmmaking, and you see this with some other movies where you think that the movie is a thing, but it's really only like a small part of the movie. Just the movie's so great that like the whole movie really leads up to a certain thing. People can think about how like the "What If I Never Existed" is that movie, but that doesn't happen. George Bailey doesn't try to kill himself until an hour into the movie.
Even more, I think.
More than that, like an hour 20 or
Hour
something.
20,
yeah, it's like an hour 20 in before George Bailey tries to kill himself. So like,
oh my god, this movie sounds dark.
it is.
Have you
It
seen
is.
Kelsey? Have you seen the episode with iCarly where like she wishes
yeah.
iCarly never existed, and then Mitch is like,
Where the guy gets his chicken wings.
yes, when a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. It's
Yeah,
exactly that is the last 20 minutes of It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, okay.
And the beginning
I
of It's
get
a
it.
Wonderful Life is you get to go through this whole man's life and see what he's done to others and the selflessness he shows. So that by the
Okay.
end, you're like, oh shit, this
Sounds
man.
similar to another Christmas movie.
Very
Maybe
similar.
something by Charles Dickens. Anyway.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's anyway, it's a brilliant film. It was number one on my classics list, which is why I put The Apartment in adjacent, just in case I could get them both.
Yeah.
It's it's just a beautiful film, and it's their iconic Christmas things. The Merry Christmas, you old building alone. That
Yeah.
whole like Bedford, it's a great
That man and his vowels, so good. Everything is wow.
Oh yeah.
Chad, any words? I know we just talked about it on
Yeah.
Picture This, so they can
Yeah,
hear all
exactly.
that.
A
Or
lot
well,
of
they
my-
will, because it'll come out after this. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of my thoughts are over on the good old Picture This. But and Dylan also brought up iCarly there as well.
Yes, I did.
But
I love it.
yeah, I mean, it's just a great film about a man getting like beaten down so much that he's contemplating suicide, and he gets a good old little help from an angel. But yeah, it's just like Die Hard. This also centers around family, and not even just family, but like a sense of community and helping out your fellow man. And I think those are like the really big themes that like makes this a really strong Christmas classic. Even though you don't have Santa, you don't have, a Christmas tree until like the very end, I think. You do have a squirrel in there though, a pet squirrel. But yeah, there's this movie is like a perfect movie, and I'm glad. Well, I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, it's okay. Zach, any thoughts on that, or should we just move on?
I've never watched the movie, but I know because I've seen.
Wow.
I know. Well, no.
No, it's okay. We're building some recommendations.
Dylan and Kelsey, a friend of ours, and I'm sure a viewer of the channel, Ben Buffard, played George Bailey in a local production of it.
Mhm.
And I've seen videos of it, and he was absolutely fantastic.
He was. Yeah.
I mean, from what I know about it and how you guys talk about it, I think it's an important lesson, and it serves as such a large inspiration for a lot of things. So
yeah, and I just want to say, seasons
pick,
are it's a tough time for some people. Depression hits. It's hit me at times, and I just want to say these 4 people right here, they're my angels. You all have earned your wings. I'm ringing the bell now.
And
thank you.
If you watch the movie, watch the black and white version.
Yes, and Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Zach, all right, you're up next. You're
all right.
I'm ripping off these wings you gave me.
Zach, go ahead, Zach. You've already taken a classic. You got everything else open.
I think I'm gonna take a modern classic.
I forgot we go like this. Anyway, sorry.
You're third either way, Kelsey.
I know.
I will say, good old Scott Calvin is on my list. However, I'm not going with the Scott Calvin. To all of you, I must say, Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
Yes!
And here comes Home Alone, specifically Home Alone, the original. Listen, there are a lot of great modern classics, and to me, this actually, I texted Dylan begging him to move our classics to 1990 because we are, we're in 2022, and the more we're like, 1990 is not that long ago, and then you're like, whoa, it's almost 40 years.
I don't want to be a classic. I'm not ready.
Let's watch it with that over almost 40 business.
I'm kidding. But I think, oh God, another absolutely fantastic. While I was looking up my picks of modern classics specifically, all these Christmas movies have super low Rotten Tomatoes ratings, and I just have a lot of questions for the people watching. It's so good. I mean, Kevin McAllister, Macaulay Culkin, iconic in that performance. So much so that they milked him for a bunch of other films in the franchise. But just like, so again, my theme with Christmas is that feeling of what it's like to be a kid around Christmas time, and this is the opposite of what the Polar Express and Christmas Story give, where it's that like you're good and you get the great stuff, and this is like you're a little piece of trash and with your a million siblings and your parents who don't even think that you're around, or who forget that you didn't get on the plane with them. I think it's awesome. The scene that I referenced, Merry Christmas, you filthy animal, the Wet Bandits. I mean, like two of the most iconic film antagonists of all time. And Home Alone itself, like one of the most iconic franchises, so much so that they keep trying to do what the original formula was.
Yes, in so many other movies.
but the original formula is so perfect that
Mhm.
the more you try to recreate it, the worse it gets, because how do you take what now people already know and see coming? And I mean,
Mhm.
there's just the great shock value. You like think you know what's going to happen the whole time, and then you're still, every time I watch it, it's still one of those, like, I show it. I'm sorry, old man Matt. I show it to my students, and every single time they're like, "This movie's great. I can't believe it's so old." And I'm like, "Relax, there. Hold up, hold up." But they're and like they've seen newer ones, and they're like, "This is the best one," and I couldn't agree more.
Well, here's one thing, Zach, I'll say. You've said about all these films trying to rip off Home Alone, and I'm not the biggest fan of Home Alone. It's because I haven't grown up with it, so I need to watch it more. It's not like one of my go-tos. It wasn't on my list, but I liked the movie a lot. Like, it's really great, especially the villains. But you said how so many films try to replicate it and fail. It's because they set their movies in other times of year. It's not necessarily Christmas. It's like, oh, this is Home Alone here, this is Home Alone there. You could set this movie in August because it can be any time of year where a kid gets left at home alone. But why is it so special, this movie? Oh, because it takes place during Christmas. Just like I know, I'm arguing. This is
I
basically
cannot
to add to my
believe
Die Hard.
No, you already got the pick, Dylan.
Hold on,
I know,
hold on.
I'm
We
adding to
moved
it.
on.
I'm adding to it, saying the reason Home Alone works so well is because you're doing this very basic premise of a kid getting left at home and his family leaving on a vacation, but you set it at the holidays, so there's just this extra oomph to it. Just like Die Hard could be a heist film any other time of year, but because it's in the holidays, it adds that extra oomph to it, a family, of all those things. I'm adding to that argument, and it's a good thing. Home Alone's great because it's a Christmas movie. I'm saying it's a great Christmas movie.
If Dylan didn't do it, I was about to. If Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, then Home Alone is not a Christmas movie. That's
Oh my
just,
God.
that's
I can't believe people think
Hold
women
up.
are more emotional than men. This
Hold
is
up,
driving
hold up.
me nuts.
no one at
Y'all
this
I'm
need to
table.
build a
I'm
bridge
very
and
emotional.
get
I'm emotional.
over
I'm a
it.
filthy animal.
Hold
I don't
on.
care.
No one at this table thinks that. Number one.
No,
I know you guys, not you guys. Totally
what I
not
was
you guys.
actually referencing was the franchise itself, and the franchise itself has tried to do this over and over and over again at the same time of year. And I would say that one gets close to doing it just as well, but the rest really just like don't hit the mark.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because the value of what what Home Alone period does is so iconic.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, look at who you've got in this goddamn movie on top of Macaulay Culkin.
Who was the Danny DeVito?
Joe Pesci,
O'Hara.
Daniel Stern, Catherine O'Hara. I mean,
John
like,
Candy.
you John Hurt, like, you've got
Kieran Culkin. Kieran,
uh
his younger brother.
Polar.
It's the people in it, right? Once you've done it perfectly, sure, a sequel or whatever can always be good, even if it's based around the same time of year. But what the first Home Alone does, and I will stand on this, is that from beat to beat to beat, it never misses. Kevin McAllister is a little shit, but I'll be damned if you don't root for him every step of the goddamn way. I want that kid that kid could rule the world. Matt, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that. Okay, finally, we're at a movie that I was a child when this came out. I was the target demographic.
There we go.
So we're good. This is on my list. This is a great movie. It's a great film about redemption and redemption and reconnection at Christmas. There's another great Christmas movie that's like that. Die Hard.
Okay, I'm gonna just say right now, I'm with you, but like, let's just not bring up Die. Let's just
It's
let
not
it
fair
die.
for you to get your
easy.
joke and me not to get mine.
I know, but I do understand how every time we bring it back up, it's just gonna add
sold
4 more
my-
minutes
I
of
should have put
conversation.
No
brandy
sold
in
my
this hot
joke.
cocoa. My lord.
I'm unappreciated in my time. Anyway, no, but no, this was a movie I watched all the time, not just at Christmas. I love this movie. Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern. We've already talked about the cast. It's so good. The old man, so good.
Oh, dude.
Old Man Marley, baby.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a great film. It shaped who I am. I love it.
Yep. Chad, anything? I know you love it.
Oh, anything? Yes, of course. This is my other favorite Christmas movie. Well, I have like kind of three. but Elf and Home Alone. If it wasn't going to be Elf, it was going to be Home Alone as my modern classic because I adore this. I'm not like Macaulay Culkin's age, but I was born in 1990, so this was also a very, very big movie for me, a very big favorite. It's really fun. And I kind of I push back on saying that Kevin's a piece of shit. Like, he is a little kid and he is, kind of a brat at times, but he learns, he holds his own, he takes care of his house. And then when he meets Old Man Marley in the church, he's scared at first, but then he faces that fear like real quick. And then he even tells Old Man Marley about the spirit of Christmas and, hey, don't be afraid to reach back out to your family that you think hates you.
Oh,
call them.
I agree with you,
The
Chad.
worst case scenario is that they won't want to talk to you still, and then at least you'll know. And then because of that, old Man Marley gets to reconvene with his son and his granddaughter again, and that's beautiful. And then when he sees his mother again, and has a big smile on his face at the end, and has just kind of learned to accept his family, even though they're kinds of pieces of shit at times. I think we're all kind of pieces of shit at times.
I agree with you, Chad. I agree with you.
Yeah. All right, Kelsey, any thoughts before we move on?
Great pick.
I just want to say that Kevin McAllister is just like a better version of Ralphie from A Christmas Story. Like, Kevin McAllister is everything Ralphie.
That's a pro Anaconda Zach. So yeah, he's got them both.
Kevin
So
McAllister is everything Ralphie wishes he could be.
well, Kelsey, what do you wish you could be for round 2, pick 3? What are you wishing for? You already have your animated, and you and Matt are the only two who haven't had a modern classic yet.
So do something else, so it's fine.
I don't think I have to worry about Matt picking what I would like for my modern classic.
Okay.
At least I hope I don't. I'm not worried about that. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pick my classic.
Don't worry.
Ooh, okay. Round. What are you going with?
And I hope this is allowed because I checked the date, and I hope you guys don't fight me about this, but I really wanted to get one of these style of films on my board somewhere.
I'll look up the title, make sure it's the right date.
So I'm looking at it right here on IMDb. I would like my classic pick to be Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Oh, cute.
Genius.
Came out in 1970.
Yeah, then it's a classic. Yeah, anything before 1985.
Well, I didn't know if we were counting this because it's not a feature, so I can't have it in the classic category.
That was the crossover discussion we were having. So
you can just pick it in whatever category you want it to be. So you want this as your classic?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Good pick, Cal.
I've never seen it, so tell me.
I think this is my favorite of the Bass and Rankin films. Just because I just love how it takes you through the origin story of Santa Claus. And I love this movie because whenever someone tried to fight me in middle school about whether or not Santa Claus existed, I just had answer after answer after answer. They'd be like, well, how did reindeer fly? They ate the magic corn. How does he see you when you're sleeping at night? He looks in the magic snowball. Like, I just had, argument after argument. Like, I won every single fight when anyone tried to, try to make me think that Santa Claus wasn't real. Those little Scrooges. And this style of animation is just so, I feel like, nostalgic for everyone in every age group. I feel like it's not like specific to any demographic. I feel like everyone can love these movies and just see like the heart and soul and the warmth of it all. And this is my number 2 pick.
Cool. Anyone else have thoughts on that? I've never seen it.
I have seen it. It's been a very long time, so I can't say specifics. I do have a question. Did you just say middle school? Like junior high?
No, I said if I said middle school, I meant elementary.
Okay. I thought you said junior high, and I had questions. But
no. Elementary. Like, I'm talking like second, third, fourth grade.
You may have said that. I don't know. But that's a beautiful story, and I love it. And this I have fond memories of this. I don't remember it very well. I think it is among my favorite of the Rankin Bass as well, but I don't remember it very well. So I don't have much to say.
Chad, have you seen it?
Yeah. This one is an origin story, like a Santa origin story. It's really good. I love like all of the Rankin and Bass ones, or most of them at least.
Yeah.
This wouldn't rank as like one of my absolute favorites.
Rankin and Bass.
Mhm.
Anyway,
but,
Zach,
no, it's
anything?
good.
I have I love it. I mean, I have great fond memories. I have like vivid, like nostalgic memories of like my mom's TV in her room playing these movies,
Cool.
and I remember this one.
Yeah, I
And
gotta
it's
check it out.
just it's such a great pick, Kels. So much
Cool.
fun.
All right, Maddie,
you.
what do you got for the
Oh,
fourth
I'm
pick
so
in round
glad. I'm so glad nobody took it. This is the one that I was afraid of, and maybe it was not. It was obviously not in danger, but maybe it was not even close to danger. But my favorite Christmas movie, and again, The Apartment is one of my top 5 favorite movies. But if we're narrowing it down to Christmas movies, my favorite Christmas movie of all time is The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yep,
That was on here. That was on here, Matt.
that's a
Go
good
right.
one. It's the best Christmas Carol, in my opinion.
In mine too.
100%.
Okay, so listen, I was in elementary school when I read the Christmas Carol, the book. It's very short. It's a very good. It's a very good story, and it's one that I absolutely love. And I've seen so many versions of this movie. But to me, nothing really captures everything there is to capture about that story like The Muppet Christmas Carol. And it's done in such like there isn't a reverence to it because it's Muppets, but it's also done with a lot of respect, which I dig. The thing that I think really allows it to exist as a respectful adaptation is that they got Michael Caine to play Ebenezer Scrooge, and he plays it completely straight. Plays it. He plays that movie like he doesn't know there are Muppets in it,
and that's what makes it so good.
And that's what makes it so good. Also, there's some really great Muppets, and they created a couple for this. The Ghost of I will be frank with everyone. Ghost of Christmas Present is a dream role for me. I've always wanted to play that role, and I think I fit the bill of it. And I have always wanted to play that role. And to me, the Muppet version that they created for that is the most iconic version. Like it's the best version. He's funny. He's lovable. You could not hate this guy. He's so good. He's got the best lines. Scrooge is like, "You're a little absent-minded spirit." He says, "No, I'm a large absent-minded spirit."
It's like the airplane humor. Yeah, I love it.
And it's got another one. Like he says he's in the absent-mindedness of him just makes me so happy. Every time he speaks, there's a line where Scrooge says, "Do people play games at Christmas?" He says, "I love games," which is not an answer to the question that Scrooge asked. But beyond him, there's just it's such a beautifully told movie done with Muppets, and it's just a wonderful film, and I love it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's my favorite version of that specific story. It's perfectly cast. And I know it's like the Muppets, but like they cast those Muppets perfectly, and Kermit's little children are so cute. Chad, any thoughts on the Muppet Christmas Carol?
Yeah, no, this is one of the best, maybe the best version of that story. I agree. It's very, very funny. I love the Muppets in it, and yeah, I agree. Michael Caine just like crushes that performance. I think it's probably the best Scrooge performance I've ever seen. Yeah, it's just really magical and hilarious every time I watch it. I think it's my wife's favorite, but I came to it a little late. But I'm glad I did.
Great music in it too. Any thoughts, Kelsey, Zach?
It's a great pick.
Yeah, cool.
All
right,
on my list.
Yep, Chad, we are moving on to you. You're getting 2 in a row, and you've already taken your modern.
All right,
and Kelsey's the only one who hasn't taken a modern now. Everything else is open.
Okay. One of my actual not deep categories is animated. It's a little shallow, so I think I'm gonna go with my animated now, and I'm gonna go with Arthur Christmas.
Damn it!
Ooh, nice pick. That was.
What did you go with, Chad? Arthur Christmas.
Arthur Christmas.
Awesome.
Yeah, Arthur Christmas. I also came to a little late, but like as soon as I saw it, like it's one that I just love to watch every year now because I think it's so special. James McAvoy, I believe, plays the main character, right?
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's
I've
just
never seen this one.
like he's
Oh,
not
it's so good, Zach.
he's not Santa, but he's like in the lineage to be Santa, and then his like older brother is his older brother like Patrick Warburton or something, or
Yeah.
It's Hugh Laurie.
Hugh
Oh.
Laurie. Okay,
It's
and so he's like in the line to be the next Santa, but then this guy is the one who embodies Santa, like the spirit of giving and dedication to that. And like his older brother is like so into like trying to be, I don't know, what he thinks Santa is.
yeah, it's more about the fame of being Santa for him, whereas Arthur
Yeah.
it's more about the spirit of giving.
And he doesn't really give a shit when they realize that someone didn't get a present and it's a bicycle. And it's like, you know, Arthur's like stressing out about this. Like, we can't have one kid not get their present on Christmas. So he goes on like a mission to get that present to this kid. And it's an adventure. It's beautifully animated. It just captures that spirit for me like so much. And it's beautiful and well voice acted, you know, it's funny.
Amazing. It's
really
amazing.
great.
Anyone else like Arthur Christmas? I love it. Anyone else?
I also came to this movie late, and by late I mean I watched it last week for the first time. Tell you something that it was number 1 on my animated list.
Wow.
Wow.
There's some other great ones.
I was so taken with this movie. I mean, it's just a great story. It's a great Santa story, but the characters are fantastic. Grand Santa is played by Bill Nighy, is so funny. Bryony, played by Ashley Jensen, is so funny. It's just a wholesome, wonderful story. I loved this so much. I immediately, as soon as I watched it, put it on this list at the top.
Wow. So it looks like it was a good pick, Chad. Kelsey, have you seen this?
I have not,
All right,
but
we'll add it to the rotation.
I definitely intend on
yeah.
watching it before the season's out.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Zach,
Zach
you've
and
not seen
Kelsey, watch it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will do.
If this draft isn't still going tomorrow.
Aye, Captain.
Yeah, no
Chad, you
kidding.
get another pick now. What do you want?
Well, I just want to add another little thing. Mrs. Santa's played by somebody that Dylan loves, Imelda Staunton. Umbridge herself.
Oh, yes, I do.
I love Imelda.
Paddington's mother.
Dolores
There you go.
Umbridge? Okay, I'm
Listen,
sold.
Yeah, no, Umbridge, not my favorite person. Imelda Staunton, probably top 10 people.
Oh, she's so good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with my short.
Ooh, first one off the board. What do you got?
And I always thought that I was going to go with one of the classics, one of the
Oh no.
I don't know what you're reacting to. Maybe it's the one I'm about to pick, but I always thought I was going to go with one of those because it's like, well, those are fantastic. Those are some of my all-time favorites. You know, I can't wait to talk about them if somebody picks them. But I got to go with something recent that, like, it floored me and I adored it. And it's one of the best things I've ever seen.
Damn it.
The Guardians Holiday
Damn it.
Special.
Yeah,
Okay.
there it goes.
All right. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special off the board.
Good
That
Literally
Oh,
number
good
1 on my
pick.
shorts list.
was my
All right.
number 2. So
Well, I'm
nice.
glad I
Wow.
That was my
picked it.
number 1. That was
Okay.
my number 1.
Wow.
So
Okay, guys.
so it seems like we've all seen it. So I'll just go ahead and talk about it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's like 40 minutes and then come back. Yeah, this one is fantastic because I love everything about the Guardians. I love the first 2 films. I'm so stoked for Guardians 3. And then this one just came out and it just like this started the holiday season for me. And it has so much spirit. I wasn't a huge fan of Mantis before this, and now I adore her. I thought she was so funny in this. Every single time she'd look at Drax and go, "What are you doing?"
What are you doing?
Everything with Drax, him wanting his funny little man more than he would want Kevin Bacon. And the fact that they're trying to steal Kevin Bacon to be a Christmas present for Star-Lord is like, if I think James Gunn like doesn't have an idea, like, you know, he has the best idea for this, what to do with this Christmas special. And it's like one of the best things about the first Guardians was Kevin Bacon. Like, he's the hero they all aspire to. And at the end, he saves the planet with dance like Kevin Bacon did in Footloose. And so I'm gonna go steal Kevin Bacon for our man Star-Lord. If they get them there and then snap him out of Mantis's spell, and he's freaking the fuck out. But after like he kind of calms down, he's like, he phones his wife or whatever, and he's like, I'm gonna be late. Someone needs me. And the Kevin Bacon performs a song that I like listen to all the time now. Here it's Christmas time, singing about everyone just wants someone to hug and kiss you. And I'm like, that's exactly right. That's what Christmas is about, like wanting someone there to love you. And I don't know. Everything about this is just fantastic. It's hilarious. The song that the aliens play where they just don't know what the fuck Christmas is, or sorry, what the F, edit that out, Dylan. What the F Christmas
Jingle.
I don't know what Christmas is, but Christmas time is here.
Yeah.
And it's just one of the best songs. It's so funny. I'm trying to think of another moment that I can throw in there, but someone else will probably throw it if I haven't mentioned it. I love this thing so much.
Yeah. It was high on my list. I have nothing else to add. I mean, Kelsey and I have talked about it ad nauseum.
Yeah.
So check out our podcast. But I love it. It's a great pick.
It was number one on my specials list, and honestly, I thought I was going to steal it. I thought
Chad just snagged your one for both categories. Wow.
Sorry.
Yeah. It was
good.
Yes,
good
he did. He's just snagged one for both categories. I was about to take it, and I thought it was going to be like at first I was like, nobody's going to do this because it's too new. And then I was like, I better take it before someone else does. But it's great. My kids keep watching it over and over again. I've seen it about 6 times since it came out. I don't know what Christmas is, but Christmas time is here. We listen to that all the time here at my house. It's just very funny. And I love it.
Cool. All right. Yeah, Zach, go ahead.
That was initially what I was going to Krampus Dylan with. I thought it would be his number one because it's his number one Phase 4 pick. Go watch Kelsey and Dylan's video.
Yes, it's my favorite Phase 4 project. I don't know if anyone has my number one, but we'll see.
We'll find out.
Yeah, all right.
That's a really solid pick. That's a really, really solid
Matt.
pick.
Yeah.
Good for you, Chad.
All right, Matt.
Bless you.
Sorry, I'm sneezing. Matt, what would you like? You have your adjacent, you have your modern, you still need your classic, animated, and short. There's a one heavy hitter I'm surprised has not gone yet.
Yeah, me too. There's a heavy hitter that I think I need to take right now.
Okay.
And it is I'm pretty sure you guys have already, I don't know. It's my classic. So
no, that's not what I'm thinking. I was thinking animated. All right, keep going.
Oh, animated. Animated is very shallow for me. I realized while making this list that I'm not a huge fan of Christmas animated movies. Turns out,
Okay.
because I had trouble getting 5.
All right, so what is your classic, Matt?
Dill, calm down.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to move the draft along because it's already,
I thought we were having a good time.
We're having a great time. If anyone is tired, I am sorry, but hey, we're doing it. It'll
I'll
never
grab
be
a pillow.
Okay, I'm gonna go with my classic because it's the one I feel most strongly about of what's left, and that is Miracle on 34th Street.
Mother effer.
Yeah, well, I mentioned earlier that I've suddenly forgotten his name.
Edmund Gwenn was
Edmund Gwenn. Yes, I said it right earlier.
Natalie Wood.
Edmund Gwenn was one of my favorite Santas, and this movie he's so good. It's
awesome. Yeah.
It's just a good movie. It's really it. It's a good movie. It has a good performances across the board. Great Santa. The kid is great. The everyone else in the movie is great. That's
Natalie Wood.
Yeah. Natalie Wood, Maria
Natalie
herself.
Yeah.
Tonight. Anyone else thoughts on Miracle on 34th Street? Chad, it looked like you wanted to.
Freaking lootly. This was going to be my 1-1 classic.
Wow. Cool.
I was sitting there strategic. I was like, classics is a little tad deeper for me, so I didn't go with it, and I was afraid someone would take it, and I knew someone probably would because it is an all-timer. It is like kind of the Christmas movie in some ways. It's the Christmas Santa, and it's like a whole thing where that's the whole story basically is, people don't think he's Santa, but he really is, or is he actually? Because the movie, in some ways, kind of keeps you guessing
Never really
a little
answers it.
bit.
But does it matter? That's the question.
Until the very end, it might, but you can still always kind of like, go get around it a little bit if you try. But really, it's not just about that. It's also about kind of like the whole, like, cynicism creeping in, and the whole, hardening really early on, because the little girl, Natalie Wood, is very in danger of hardening and becoming that person that doesn't have any whimsy, any imagination, or fun. And her mom is just, she's like the strong businesswoman, and she wants to hold on to that and like prove herself so much that she teaches her daughter basically to not have your head in the clouds, don't dream, don't imagine, don't do anything weird, don't dream of any of those silly Santa things. It's all false. And so that's how she goes. But then she keeps seeing the Santa, and then he teaches her how to loosen up, how to be silly, how to act like an animal. And, he teaches her kind of like the spirit of Christmas and how to, be a child, basically. He's the perfect Christmas Santa, even though he does assault somebody in the movie. It's brilliant. It really will give you that feeling, especially the moment when you think all is lost. He's going to be like, Dean's not Santa in the eyes of the court. And then all the letters come in, the bags and bags of letters, and it fills you up. I love this movie. It's one of my faves.
Yeah, that's a good pick, Chad. Oh wait, that was my pick. Wow. I would like to. No, I appreciate that, because he said all the things that I agree with, but couldn't find the words for. I would like to add that there is a aspect of this that resonates with me, which is probably why I like it so much. Which is that I never believed in Santa. Ever, even as a child. That was mostly
Christmas.
That was mostly due to religion in the 80s. But also, I don't know, just like I was not given that specific thing as a Christmas tradition. Although I still got Christmas presents from Santa, it's just I knew the deal. And
that's crazy.
There was never a point where I believed.
Wowie zowie.
Which makes me which makes me understand like the position of those, of like how that little girl is, where she's just very logical and all that. So I really resonate with that.
Critical thinker.
It does make me that aspect of my life. I do wish I had that experience, because I don't know what it's like to find out the truth, or to even believe, like to even have that magical feeling, because it never existed for me. But there's still other aspects of Christmas that are magic. It's just I never had that. So,
but did you give that to your kids?
Yes, I've given that to my kids.
Go.
I've given that to my kids, and it's what I wouldn't give to experience what the girl in that movie experiences, which is where she doesn't have the magic, but then it is revealed to her. Like that would have been awesome, and that's probably why I love that movie so much.
Never too late, man. Never too late. So Kelsey or Zach, any thoughts on Miracle on 34th?
Another classic I just haven't gotten around
building the watch list. It's
Yeah.
funny, this draft, because a lot of your picks I haven't seen, and a lot of like other picks y'all haven't seen. Like this is so interesting, because we're all bringing our own different backgrounds in this, which is so fun. Yeah. Cool. Kelsey, you are up with your third pick. You've already picked your classic and your animated. You still need your short, your modern, and your adjacent.
All right, I'm just going to go with my modern. I'm going to keep you guys, not waiting any longer for this. I know you're all desperate to know what I picked as my modern classic.
Oh, the one you thought no one else would have?
Yeah, because no one said it. So no one else did have it.
That's true.
There's two. One that Zach had brought up earlier, and we were all talking about our favorite Santa Clauses.
Okay.
That that movie was getting thrown around a bunch, and Funny
Considering
enough,
everyone else is taking a modern, you can say the title since it won't be able to
okay,
be drafted
fine.
anywhere
Well,
else.
the Santa Claus. I'm not saying this is my pick. I'm just saying that this movie
That
was
was what
talked
you were
about.
between. Yeah.
That is
And
yes.
funny enough, I did my own ranking of Christmas movies on my YouTube channel that is like now very dead. And The Santa Claus was my number one movie. But I found out very recently that another movie I just like a little bit more. And that is the Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
You're going Jim Carrey, correct?
Wow.
Jim Carrey, baby.
Wow.
The Jim Carrey version
Wow.
for sure. I just literally watched it before we did this. And first of all, I just have to point out it's narrated by Anthony Hopkins. All right. First, number
Odin.
one.
Odin.
Odin,
All
Hannibal
father.
Lecter. Come on now.
Imagine if he narrated as Hannibal Lecter,
The
though.
father.
And the
And hello,
Grinch
fairies.
was sitting
Oh, God.
alone, eating his hot chocolate.
Oh
Yeah.
Lord.
Reason number 2, Jim Carrey, period.
Period.
Reason number 3, you watch this movie as an adult and you realize this movie was made for adults. Like
Yes.
there's just so many adult
It's
jokes
very grim.
and nuances and things that you don't catch as a child that you catch later on in life that's said, and visuals and gags and all that. Like this movie is enjoyable. I feel like when you're a child, when you're a teenager, and when you're a young adult, and even after that, like this. And I literally just watched this with my roommate, and I said to her, I was like, they just don't make movies like this anymore, because you look around that movie, that set, those costumes, the makeup, like you
practical,
can
yeah.
see every single extra in the background has some sort of prosthetic on, some sort of funny looking thing to their face to make them look like a who. Like
Yeah.
it is
Has a very
it's just
classic
so-
Hollywood feel like that. Yeah.
Yes, it
Mhm.
is just so detailed and intricate and hilarious. Like it's all around. It's just camp. You know, it's
Yeah.
such a campy movie.
I
And
think it's one of
Oh,
those
yeah.
like you either love it or hate it. I know people who don't like it because they
Yeah.
think it's a little too aesthetically drab. It's a little too off-putting, and the humor doesn't land for them. But I think
No, I
I
love
think it's
it.
all in the performance, and I love the performance. So I'm a fan
Yes.
of this one for sure.
I
Anyone
will
else thoughts?
I will
Yeah.
say that I love this movie. It is a bad movie that is also a really great movie, and not in the way that so bad it's good, like our TV show or like our
I
show.
got you. Yeah.
It is over the top. It is campy.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
there are parts that are very poorly written. There's so much wrong with this, but I absolutely love this movie. It's also great. It's bad, but it's also great. I can't explain it very well.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, it's bad, but it sounds great. I love the performance. Bill Irwin, who played Mr. Noodle on Sesame Street, if you guys remember him at all,
Yeah.
Mr. Noodle. Yeah.
plays Lou Who, Cindy Lou Who's dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love him. Here's
Yeah.
the thing. I miss the Elmo train because, again, I'm an old crotchety man. But I missed that Elmo train. But now that I'm watching it with my kids, I'm like, God, I love Bill Irwin so much. Like, I'm a huge fan of his, and I love that he played that role. But that movie's a lot of fun, and I really like it.
Cool. Zach?
I haven't watched it in a while, so I
That's
mean,
tragic.
like, I you know what it is. But I mean, like, it is probably for my generation, Jim Carrey's iconic role that, like, obviously you have Ace Ventura, of course, and then the Truman Show, but like the Grinch is Jim Carrey to like my generation.
Yeah, the most
because
extreme too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And lastly, all I want to say about this is Taylor Momsen. Her rendition of "Where Are You, Christmas?" Heartbreaking.
Of course.
Oh my God. It's her sweet little
I-
voice.
I once was in a car with someone listening to Christmas songs on her playlist, and for some reason she had that version on. So we're like listening, like Mariah Carey just finishes, and then you hear "Where Are You, Christmas?" I'm like, whoa! I'm like, this is killed the vibe.
It's
Let's
so
go.
sweet. Stop.
but
It's
not
so
like
sweet.
coming off of like Bruce Springsteen, Santa Claus is coming to town, Mariah Carey. I was like,
Sure.
it was be bad, but it was
Right, and
Chad,
there's
any-
the Faith Hill version on the album.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, which is also
No,
exceptional,
Taylor
but that
puts
version's
Faith
very
Hill
good.
to shame.
Chad, thoughts?
Yeah, this came out when I was 10. I saw it in the
Oh,
theater.
perfect. Yeah.
I loved it.
Mm.
I don't think like I like so adore this film that like I would put it, because I actually didn't put this on my list. But it would be like somewhere in like the 10, 15
Mhm.
spot range. I don't know if it would be in my top 10, but I do really love it every time I watch it. This is my preferred version. I don't really care about the animated one all that much, to be honest. And I think Jim Carrey's perfect in it. I love all of the, kind of bit actors or, character actors like, Jeffrey Tambor as the mayor. I actually kind of met him one time.
Oh,
And
I mean, well, yeah.
a lot of really great stuff in this. I love that they did kind of like an origin story of the Grinch.
Yeah.
And little baby Grinch is really adorable. And
Raised by two moms. Progressive.
right, it's so progressive. Back in the early 2000s.
Lesbian
And
Grinches.
yeah, like you guys have said, everything is so well done. I think Ron Howard like kind of nailed it. And then to Matt's point, maybe not perfectly, but I think if you want to get into the holiday spirit, this is one where you can see someone's heart grow and embrace the holiday season. And what's wrong with that? Nothing.
Yeah.
I
think
will
some
say
people,
that.
yeah. Oh, just go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say during COVID, when we missed all of our family and friends at the holidays, we rented out an AMC theater and watched this with everyone.
Oh, that's very
Ooh, that's cool.
That's
Good
fun.
pick.
I was gonna say I was of the generation that also I defend Cat in the Hat, so I don't know if I know what I'm talking
Oh,
about. But
that
hey,
ruined those
not
movies.
not because it's good, but because it had its own time and place in history, and Emmanuel Lubezki, cinematographer, did a great job with it. Anyway, moving on. Zach, you did your classic and your modern classics. Now you got to fill in the gaps. What do you want for your third pick? Your fourth of round 3.
I just have one thing to say to all of you.
Hmm.
It's Christmas time, Charlie Brown.
Aw.
For my animated,
Okay.
I can't believe it slipped by. To be honest, I'm thrilled. It's a Charlie Brown Christmas.
Very cute.
I mean, there's
Wait.
not and
Is this your animated or short or special?
my animated.
Okay.
My animated. I have something different for my short. But I love this. I love this movie, and I will say, right, if you've noticed, right, I had an initial plan, and that all went out the window when my first two, like my first 1 and 1 got thrown. So I've gone for more iconic. And I think in the terms of animation, other than the Polar Express, there is not a more iconic like feeling to Christmas in terms of animation than hearing for the first time Christmas time is here.
Yeah.
And just like and even without the lyrics, right? You like that's immediately people are like, "Oh, there you go, Charlie Brown." And I will say what's a little where I like debated. I actually had another one that Chad had just mentioned, so I was thinking about going back and forth, and then Kelsey picked her last. No, it's okay. Kelsey picked her last pick, and that sealed the deal for me that I wanted to go this route. I don't think anyone could ever really like off the top of their head they're thinking about the story of it. But the thing I will say about most Christmas things in general is I don't think the story is the most important part. I think the feeling and the message is most important. And I mean, just like the end of it when it starts snowing, and I don't think people talk enough about, Dylan, you mentioned it, like how hard the holidays can be. And Charlie Brown is this like overarching character who everyone loves, and he's just so down, and he's always just in this funk. And it's amazing to see, like, Christmas is not for Christmas for a lot of people it's about joy, but for a lot of people like it's stressful. Like this is a stressful time of year. A lot of stuff needs to get done, and for him it's just a silly little Christmas play. It's nothing too big, but like to him it's a huge deal, and it isn't until the end that like it really comes together and it clicks for him. And I mean, it's beautiful. It's timeless. Everyone knows Charlie Brown, and even though there are two main Charlie Browns everybody knows, Charlie Brown. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and a Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yeah, those are definitely the two most popular.
I would. It would be criminal if it went unpicked. So I picked it for myself.
Chad?
Yeah, two things that I wanted to mention. I need to watch this more because I don't watch it like every year, but I probably should because I think it's really good. Charlie Brown, doesn't he pick like the kind of withered Christmas tree?
Yeah.
I had something to say about that. Yes.
That's very special, and I think that's very sweet kind of message there to pick the and the second thing is the album that came out from this is actually a phenomenal
So good
album.
Mhm.
And it's not just a phenomenal Christmas album, it's a phenomenal like jazz album.
Yes, it's a
You
great
can
jazz
listen to this any time of the year and it's beautiful.
I play it. I will say, like I usually put on some music just kind of in the background in my classroom. It definitely helps the kids work more. When the Christmas season began, this is really the only thing that plays. And they all the minute like you just get the piano of Christmas time is here, they are all like they all have a reaction and then they are immediately in it. They're immediately it's awesome.
Yeah.
I was going to mention the album, the jazz album. It's so good. This is a great pick. It's a great thing. It's one of those that doesn't hold up as well for me as an adult, and that has a lot to do with just my faith, my journey in my religious faith, and where I'm just not where I was when I was a kid, and so there's certain messaging in it that just doesn't resonate with me anymore.
It goes hard on the Jesus stuff.
Yeah. But I will say that there are sections of this that really work. And I think sometimes it undercuts that message, like the withered tree that they picked to love it for just what it is. Eventually they do some like black magic to it and make it into a real tree. I don't know how they do that, but they do some sort of a weird black magic and it becomes a real tree. And I feel like that undercuts the message. However, I think that does not overshadow the great things about that special. So it's a really great pick.
Yeah, cool. Kelsey, any thoughts?
Really great pick. That was on my list.
Oh my god, I'm so happy because my number one Christmas movie always teeters between Elf and Die Hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
My number two, though, just came out a few years ago, and I'm shocked that I am getting this in round 3. Maybe I'm not so shocked because it is fairly new, but it hit Netflix a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
Coming off of the best year of animation ever with Toy Story 4, How to Train Your Dragon 3, Frozen 2, I Lost My Body, and then I was like, wow, there's so many great animated films. Oh, there's a little Christmas movie that got dropped on Netflix. I guess it's about Santa Claus. It's called Klaus. So I was like, all right, why don't I watch this? And at the end of that movie, I don't think I've cried that hard of pure happiness since watching that movie. And it has since then become probably like next to Elf and Die Hard, the most essential Christmas watch for me. Like I need to watch it every year. It's so good. I'm not going to get into spoilers because it is still relatively new and I know people haven't watched it, but like it's the Santa origin story, but it plays out in such an unconventional way. It's about this guy. It's essentially the Emperor's New Groove thing. It's a guy who's kind of unlikable, a little weaselly, kind of annoying, all about himself, gets sent on this mission to do this thing, meets this quieter, more humble, sweeter, older, burlier guy that kind of like shows him the meaning of life and makes him a better person. And like just the way they incorporate letters, and because he's a postman, and like how that starts the origin of mailing letters to Santa, and just like how the origins of why Klaus does what he does. It's a beautiful film, and it's also very well animated. It's my animated pick, by the way. Yeah, it's like beautifully animated. It's 2D animated too, which we don't see a lot of nowadays. Like it is my in 5 years, this could be my favorite Christmas movie ever. And the fact that I'm getting it in round 3, I think is only because it's so new that other people have more like nostalgic picks here. But I truly believe if we're like, we sat down and watch like just even these 15 movies, I bet like everyone would be like, oh, this is amazing. Because I know some of you have seen it, but I don't think all of you have seen it. But it's beautiful. I know Matt and Chad have seen it. Kelsey, have you seen this one?
I've not seen this one.
All right, Matt, Zach,
another one to my list.
Yeah,
this one.
A long time ago, and not a long time ago,
but when it
like
came out.
a while ago, and I haven't really given it.
Yeah, it's so beautiful, and I just recommend it for everyone. I don't want to dwell on it more because we're still only in round 3, but yeah, it's beautiful. Any thoughts, Matt?
Yeah, I will say that it is number 2 on my animated list.
Yeah, it was my number 1.
It would have it would have, if it had gotten back to me, that's the one I would have picked. I will say that I have a weird relationship with this because I hate the first 30 minutes of this movie. Like actively hate the first 30 minutes. It's
The feuding towns.
No, not that. Not that.
Oh.
The before he gets to the town. I hate that part so much. It annoys me. And I know in context it works.
Because you need to set him up as an unlikable
because you need to set him up.
Yeah.
But every time I watch that, I just get so annoyed and I just am not having a good time during that. However, the last half of that movie is perfect. It's so good. And it's so heartwarming and touching. And it's just so good that it makes up for that. And I love that movie. It's just that first 30 minutes is the only thing that ever gives me any pause.
That's fair. Yeah. But again, Netflix, you can skip those 30 minutes if you want.
Yeah, but I watch it with my kids, and they won't allow that.
Go to the bathroom. Chad.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a great pick because it was also, like Matt, number 2 on my animated list, but it's a very, very close number 2 because Klaus is brilliant. And I adore it. I love how it's 2 feuding towns, and they teach everybody the meaning of coming together and being like kind of a family and stuff like that. It is a really interesting like Santa Claus origin story, but like a kind of different, more foreign type of, or at least foreign to us Americans. Christmas Santa.
It feels more like a myth, like less of like a
does.
the traditional kind of like the Santa Claus, like guy falls off roof and then he's got the reindeer and he's the North Pole. It's like, no, this is just like a guy and he just happens to become Santa, essentially.
Yeah, and I love how it's like a different kind of take and a different kind of setup for a Santa origin. And yeah, like you said, the animation is perfect. It's funny. There's a lot of really funny moments with the weird, creepy town and stuff like that. And there's just a lot of really great stuff. But it's so sweet. And I know like the one knock that some people have, they go, it's really cheesy and it has like weird pop music in it. I'm like, it works so well for the movie.
Yeah,
it's so good.
And I would have nominated that song for best original song of the year. I would have.
Nice.
All right, moving on to round 4. This is tough because I've gotten my number 1 modern, my number 1 classic, and my number 1 animated, and I have my number 1 of adjacent and special. It's just me guessing now. Is someone going to take my special? Is someone going to take my adjacent? I think I can get my special later. So I'm going to go with my adjacent. When I think Christmas adjacent, I immediately think of Shane Black. Because Shane Black has a habit of just like making a movie and then being like, but I love Christmas, so he just kind of sprinkles it in. And it's not like I'm not gonna say the title, but like not like another film where like I think it's a very central part of the story, but it is like it's just peppered along. It's peppered in. And, it can be to some people maybe more of a Christmas movie, but I think his movies are more just like I like the vibe, so I'm gonna like put some Santa hats here. That's gonna be a Christmas party in this one scene. This is a Robert Downey Jr. film directed by Shane Black.
Narrowed it down.
And it is called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Yes. It is one of my favorite. Yes. So
I thought you were going.
I know what you were going. Oh, put it away, because I feel like there might be some friends here who might pick that later. That was my perfect setup because I was trying to set it up like it could be that, but and truthfully it could be. It's funny because my favorite Phase 4 film just got picked, and if it's going along as planned, my favorite Phase 2 film will probably also get picked this draft. But this is my favorite Shane Black movie because Christmas doesn't really play a huge part in it. It's just it sets the setting, it sets like the atmosphere. It's like there's Santa hats, there's a Christmas party, there's like sexy reindeer and stuff. It's not really a Christmas movie, but that's what this category is. I just think it's a great movie. It's a great heist film, or not heist film, but like a great crime film. There's this guy who's like on the run, stumbles into this room, and then like just starts. I think he kills a guy, and then he's on the run, and he like gets into this room, and he's just like crying his soul out. He's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe what I just did. Oh my god," delivering this really powerful monologue, and then the people in the casting room were just like, "You got the part," and he's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you got the part." He didn't even realize that he stumbled into an audition room. Like, I think that's just one of the most fun, inciting incidents. Then after he gets the part, they're like, "Well, you got to like live the part. You got to go study and shadow this detective to learn what it's like to be a detective. And then when he decides to shadow it, because right now he's not an actor, he just happened to stumble into getting this part, but it's his best way to cover up the fact that he's a real criminal. So then he goes on this like thing with this detective who's played by Val Kilmer, but then it turns out that that's a real shenanigans that he gets roped into too. I love just Shane Black adding all the layers to this. I'm trying not to spoil it, but it's so good. Robert Downey Jr. is incredible in it. Val Kilmer's incredible in it. It's a great precursor to what we would see with Robert Downey Jr.'s other work with Shane Black, maybe inside the MCU, maybe also set maybe during Christmas. But I think this one has just more humor to me and more just like of an interesting story that like I can enjoy separate from like other films where that other film, like I feel like sometimes I need it in context, but here it's just like such a fun one. It's a banger, literally kiss, kiss, bang, bang. I know Kelsey and I covered it for our Robert Downey Jr. movie club, so she likes it. I think she liked it, right? Kelsey, you liked it?
Yeah, I did like Kiss
Yeah, this
Kiss
is a
Bang
fun
Bang.
one. So, anyone else seen this one?
Never.
I love this movie. It's also my favorite Shane Black movie. I like the way you set this up because you're like Shane Black, and you're like, all right, well, there's a bunch of them, and then you were like Robert Downey Jr. I'm like, you're still narrowing it down. And I was hoping it would be this movie because I have already got my Christmas adjacent, so I just get to be happy for you instead of angry. But I love this movie. I remember when it came out, and I watched it like 3 times in a week.
It's awesome.
It's so funny,
and it moves so well too.
It moves so well. The characters are all great. It's so good. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it.
And probably Val Kilmer's funniest role.
Oh, he's so good in it.
Chad, any thoughts?
Yeah, well, my favorite Shane Black is The Nice Guys. But
is that
is set during Christmas.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Oh,
so
I actually didn't realize it was. So
it's
sorry.
so adjacent. It's so adjacent.
But yeah, no, I watched Kiss Kiss Bang Bang because it's been a long time hearing so many people talk about how much they love that movie and it's so great. It's kind of a return for Robert Downey Jr. All that great stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't really like it all that much. But I'm thinking about revisiting it soon, maybe like now-ish for Christmas time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
fair,
I don't really remember it that much. So, but I do remember that monologue part, and I thought that was pretty great. So.
Kelsey, any thoughts? It's been a while since we watched it, but any thoughts on Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?
It's been a minute, but I just remember having a good time watching that movie.
Yeah, there was a gross scene about a limb that they needed to put on ice, and I was just like,
and it's got one of my.
I had just forgotten about that. Thank you for bringing it up.
It has one of my favorite movie tropes of all time, which is the unreliable narrator, and it uses the unreliable narrator so well because it's the character, it's the Robert Downey Jr. character, so he forgets things like shit. I forgot to tell you about a thing, and then I have to go back and tell you about the thing.
That is
like
fun.
I love that shit. Like
again, an Emperor's New Groove thing. We bringing it back. All right. Round 4, pick 2. We're moving it along. Sorry, it's taking a while, but hey, we're having great discussions, aren't we all? Zach, you still have a special left, and you still have a what else do you need? Adjacent. I almost said adjacent. Jason, what do you want?
I'm confident. I'm hoping that I won't have to argue for my adjacent. So I'm confident that I won't have it picked. I have been struggling with my special and my short because I am looking at a list where I have 3 really solid picks, and 2 are more well known, and 1 I think I don't know who in this call will know it, but I think it's the best one. So I'm gonna pick it, and it is Hey Arnold, Arnold's Christmas.
Oh
no, dude!
I've never seen it. I've never seen it, but that's
for a second.
I did too, because mine. I hope no one picks mine, but yeah.
Holy, I don't know. Okay, so this is why I picked it, right? I'm not going to say the others. Obviously, we'll do like a honorable mentions if people don't pick. But the reason I'm picking Arnold's Christmas is because when I was sitting down,
season 1, episode 11, correct?
Yes, correct. When I was sitting down and I was thinking about specials. Obviously, like Guardians was the first one that came to mind because it's so recent. And I don't think anyone will know this one, and this is more for me. But Hey Arnold's Christmas is one of the most heartbreaking and heartwarming. I'm literally just going to read you part of what it is. so it all just begins like Helga wants like her sister and her want these like very expensive boots, and Arnold blah blah blah. Meanwhile, at Sunset Arms boarding house, Arnold and the boarders assign each other a secret Santa. In his case, he has to get a gift for Mr. Hyun. He notices that Mr. Hyun always seems very sad around Christmas. When he tells his best friend Gerald about it, he suggests he asks, and as he goes to talk to him, he tells him that it reminds him of his lost daughter Mai. He explains that 20 years ago, he lived happily with Mai in a small village in South Vietnam, but he was aware they'd have to leave for a better life due to the Vietnam War growing closer to his village. However, as they try to evacuate, the American rescue soldiers only had room for one passenger, and he gave Mai to the rescue soldier. Guys, it is... And at
So
the
wait,
end,
is this like journey for his long lost daughter?
And at the end, Arnold successfully reconnects Mr. Hyun with his long lost daughter.
Wow.
It is.
Oh my God! I need to watch this.
I have chills. It is like you're. It does what '90s cartoons did so beautifully of being cartoons meant for children, but like I really do have chills. The artistry of the storytelling is if you want to argue about Die Hard being like about family, which again we've moved past, this is family. It is, and it is such a great moment to reconnect. Like there throughout all of Hey Arnold, there is this like very like mysterious, shrouded like Arnold's parents are not part of the picture, and we get like a little bit of a like nod to them maybe being like pilots, like adventurers. So this like reconnecting Mr. Hyun with his daughter is so it's like heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, and it's got like everything a good Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
You've got the mailman trudging through the snow going, I hate the snow, I hate the snow, I hate the sleet, and I hate the snow. And it's got the Nickelodeon 90s charm. But like
Zach, you just like unlocked a memory in my subconscious. That was crazy. I'm sorry.
It's
Kelsey has
so
seen
good,
right?
It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's
I've
so
never seen
good.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Oh, anyone have thoughts on that? I mean, we got to keep this draft going, but that was beautiful, man. I could.
That was a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing this episode.
You made me want to see it. I've never seen it. I didn't watch this show, so I don't know.
Dad?
Yeah, no, what Kelsey just said exactly was me. I was like, wait a second, I've seen whatever he's just describing right now.
Yes.
Because it was just like a nostalgia like bomb there, like, whoa. I did watch Hey Arnold. I don't remember it a ton, but I remember it, and I remember it being kind of emotional, but I don't remember specifics. But I did just look it up, and I see, Arnold and his buddy like decorating Christmas tree and stuff like that. So it seems awesome.
Yeah, for those who know what this is and who've seen it, that's going to play really well for you on that graphic.
The football head, Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. And actually, it's not Arnold who reconnects. It's Helga. Helga helps. And like that's her ongoing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. All right, Kels, you're up. You need to get a special and a adjacent.
Adjacent. I don't think I'm worried about Matt or Chad picking my adjacent. I think.
I've already picked my adjacent.
Oh, okay, great. So then I only have to worry about Chad?
Probably not.
So then so then I'm gonna get my special out of the way, because the more you talk about what your special might be, Dyl, the more nervous I'm getting. Even though it would bounce back to me anyway. I don't know. I'm just gonna say it. My special, this episode of television came to mind right away.
No, please don't do it. Please don't do it. Please don't do it.
Okay. Because it's so good. It is season 2, episode 11 of Community. Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas.
The animated one.
Yes. If you know Community, I feel like not a ton of people have watched Community.
You like literally give me a pit in my stomach when you started.
God, Dylan, you need to take something.
Probably, it's late. What episode number is it? I just want to look it up.
It's season 2, episode 11. It's called Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas, and the whole thing is stop motion claymation. And it's about this beautiful story of like literally the most lovable character on that show trying to grapple with the fact that his parents are divorced and that this is the first ever year that he's not going to be seeing his mom for Christmas. And I'm sorry if that spoils anything for anyone.
Well, I mean,
if
that's the
you
big
haven't seen the
reveal,
show.
but yeah.
Well,
You've only
yeah.
ruined everything, Kelsey, but it's
Sorry.
Guys, it's
But
been on since 2010. It came out in 2010. We're good.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Community, like you need to go watch Community because
Russo brothers.
there's
Oh yeah.
what'd you say?
The Russo
Russo
brothers.
Russo brothers.
Oh yes, the Russo brothers. And there's a ton of Community actors that get sprinkled in throughout the MCU. So
Well, Winter
yes,
Soldier.
absolutely. And
Frickin-
the concept of this show is just so brilliant because like most episodes are like parodies, like that show is just so creative and inventive, and this is just such a beautiful story. Literally, if you Google any list of like best Christmas TV episodes of all time, this episode is mentioned on every single one. It is just so great. I watched it today in preparation for this because I love it so much. And it's literally the first thing that came to mind. That's why I asked at the draft day. I was like, can we do TV episodes? Because
And
really
I'm
want
glad
them.
you asked. That's all I'll
Yeah,
say.
you're welcome. You guys are welcome.
All right.
That's
Any
my
thoughts on that
special.
before we move on? Matt?
When Abed comes to the realization as to why this is happening to him, it's so heartbreaking. I haven't seen it in a few years, so I don't remember the specifics, but I remember it's so heartbreaking when he realizes like why this is going on to him, like why he's put everyone in a claymation situation. Yeah. It's very good.
I don't remember the episode like that in detail. I think she said everything about it there. But Community is fantastic. I think we should do a sitcoms draft day at some point. The Russo brothers episodes with the paintball is fantastic.
Yes.
I have never seen it.
It's one of the best.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh, you got to watch it. You got to do it.
Me neither, Zach. I'm with you. I haven't seen Hey Arnold or Community. But Matt, have I seen your special? Actually, you don't have to draft a special now. You can wait, but you can pick an animated or a special.
I am going to wait on my special. I'm going to go ahead and do animated. This animated movie is going to hit a chord with some people. I don't know how well it's going to matter, but this one is often debated, but I think there's no question that it is a Christmas movie, and that is The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I'm going to say this was the heavy hitter from last round. I was like, I can't believe no one's picked this yet. Yeah.
Henry Selick, not Tim Burton, directed this. Harry Selick.
That's very important. Very important.
Is it Henry?
I think it's Henry.
Okay, that's what I said at first. And I was like, "Oh God, did I say it wrong?" Anyway, Henry Selick directed this beautiful gothic story about Christmas. Yes, it's set in Halloween Town or whatever. But it is about Christmas fully, and it fully embraces and I love. Again, this is about redemption. I love that theme at Christmas time, and the movie's really about Jack wanting to find his own way in his life that's not the same thing he's always seen, going way too far, and then his redemption getting him back to a good place. I love the soundtrack of this. This movie has aged a bit for me because I used to love it. I used to watch it all the time. And then as I get older, I'm just like, yeah, it's fun and it's good and I like it. But it just, I guess because I'm less angsty, it doesn't hit the chord for me as well. But I still love it.
I'm the same way. Yeah. Anyone else thoughts on that? I mean, it's a classic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it was in my Christmas adjacent, actually. Not because
and that could be argued because some people say it's a Halloween film.
And that's only because, and I wouldn't actually even call it a Halloween film. I would just call it a beautifully animated film. But when I think of Christmas animated, right, I think of like the classics. But I don't disagree, and I'm not trying to veto Matt because it's a great pick. And honestly, it slipped through the cracks. If I
can't believe it's getting here in round 4. Yeah.
If I had thought of it for animated, I actually probably would have picked it. But
there you go.
Well done.
This was definitely in my animated. It was my number 3. I
Wow.
kind of agree on that where, I do think because, well, I mean, it brilliantly blends the two. Like it's perfect
Yeah.
for a Halloween movie. It's perfect for a Christmas movie. You can watch
Yes.
either. If we did a Halloween centric draft day, you could pick this there and I
Easily
would not
pick
it.
argue with you. And it's beautiful just as a movie itself. I adore stop motion so much as an art form. The music, Danny Elfman's great, even singing as the great Pumpkin King. Yeah, we just had like a trivia question, Dylan, where it was like, it snows at the end and it's kind of, beautiful. And yeah, and it's scary, and when people get presents, sometimes they're scary presents, and it's hilarious.
I know this soundtrack by heart. Just real quick, Chad. I'm really going to need to know what your 4 and 5 are on this list because so far, Arthur Christmas, Klaus.
I didn't have a 4 and 5.
This was the last animated to go, so we can talk about any other animated.
That's fine.
I didn't have many others. The only other one I considered was Lady and the Tramp, and even that is a little adjacent.
The point that I was making. The point that I was making is that our 1, 2, and 3 were exactly the same.
And Toy Story,
Arthur Christmas, Klaus, and Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Toy Story is my number 5, but yeah.
Had Grandma got run over by a reindeer on here, and I can't believe no one. That is an old. That's
a nostalgia one. Yeah, I've never seen that.
That's nostalgia in Christmas. I have.
Yeah.
Oh, love it.
Well, and then also there are some other classics that may be in special, so I'll wait. But yes,
right.
Chad, you're next, and you're getting 2 back to back. You got to finish it out with a classic and a adjacent, or in the other order. It's whatever order you want to do.
Well, I'm gonna go kind of in a similar vein as the last pick, and I'm gonna do one that could be considered either.
Is this the same director as Christmas Story by any chance?
It is not actually. No, it's not. But this one is it's I'm trying to say. I don't know what I was gonna say. Anyways, it's I'm doing Gremlins.
Oh, nice. For your adjacent?
For my classic.
For your classic.
Oh, did it come out before 85?
Yeah. 84.
Oh, I didn't even realize. Okay, cool. Gremlins is your Christmas classic. I love it.
Wow.
Because we set the date at 85.
Yes, it's 84. You're right.
I have Gremlins as my number 2 adjacent because I did put Die Hard in adjacent because of strategy. And then I was like, wait, 85. I can do Gremlins. There's one other classic that I'm not going to say the name. I wanted to pick because of my wife, but then I was like,
I believe that is you're the last one to pick a classic, so you can say the title of the Bing Crosby
I was going to
classic.
pick I was thinking about picking White Christmas.
That was my number 5.
Say the title of the Bing classic.
Also, no one picking the good old classic, Meet Me in St. Louis. I was gonna, if I had to pick it, I was gonna have Zach sing a song from it. And then I remember Kelsey was also in it. Kelsey and Zach.
I'm pretty sure my wife owns it, so I should watch it.
St. Louis.
I really want to. I've been meaning to check that one out. And I almost picked White Christmas because it's
Love
great.
the Gremlins pick.
I don't really remember White Christmas all that much. I've only seen it once, but Gremlins I adore. I think it's a great Christmas movie. I think it's a great horror movie. It's I guess it's about responsibility and but it's also about family. I love kind of like the one character who doesn't really accept Christmas because like her dad like walked out on her on Christmas or whatever. Or no. Didn't die. He died.
He died going down the chimney. Yeah.
That's right. And but Gizmo, the Mogwai, is I think the cutest character ever,
voiced by Howie Mandel.
Also terrifying.
He's never terrifying, but his offspring.
I've never seen
terrifying.
it.
But yeah,
you've never seen Gremlins, Zach?
Guys, I'm a terrible movie buff.
Check out Gremlins.
You are terrible.
Then check out Gremlins 2, the new batch, because that one's batshit crazy and it's fantastic. But yeah, Gremlins is great. I'm not gonna go through this too much, but Gizmo wears a Santa hat. It's enough for me.
Mhm.
Well, it's also it's the Christmas present is the Magui, and he goes and
He's
then
the Christmas present. That's right.
yeah, he gets a little wet, has like little baby Magwis, and then they become
And
like
they
great.
eat fried
Yeah.
chicken.
Yeah, and then they become
Mhm.
evil.
After
And that's the scary
midnight.
that Zach was referring to. Yeah. But yeah, it's all based on the fact that this is a Christmas present. So like, yeah, I get it. It's a Christmas movie, 100%.
Yeah.
But it could also be adjacent too. But
Yeah.
it is your classic. Any thoughts, Matt?
This is one that this one came out the same year I did, and 1984.
Both great.
Yeah, so I've been watching this my whole
Both
life.
5 stars.
It's one that I really love. It comes from a time frame when, like me, not everything had to make sense for it to be great. So like things like what is after midnight and
Right.
in what time zone, and this thing's from China, right? Like is it after midnight there or
Right.
in
The fun thing about that is in Gremlins 2, they poke fun at that.
Yes, that's
Because
right.
there's a guy at a board and he's like, wait a second, isn't it after midnight across the country? And then a gremlin pops out and starts eating them.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I was just gonna say, since Zach hasn't seen it, this is little Gizmo. He's the
Oh no,
Dude,
I know
and he
who
sings.
Gizmo is. I know who Giz. How do you not know who
Hey, Zach.
who Gizmo and the Gremlins are?
Yeah.
Zach, we need to start a movie club.
Movie club.
We need to do a
Okay.
movie club so that you can watch some movies.
Oh no, friendship.
Yeah,
No, but Zach did get Christmas Story and Home Alone though, so he's not a movie buff, but he's got what
I'm not
it
saying
counts.
that he's a movie like he's
got good
dumb.
taste.
He's not movie dumb, but he there's movies he needs to see, and I want to help him out. It's anyway.
Zaddy
Yeah,
Christmas,
it's a great
helping
movie,
Maddie
and
Christmas.
I love this movie. So yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Oh, Phoebe
Kelsey,
Cates.
any thoughts on
Phoebe
Gremlins?
Cates.
Amazing.
I love Phoebe Cates and have always loved Phoebe Cates. So there we are.
Beautiful.
Don't we all? Kelsey?
It's
Gremlins?
a really that's a really solid pick. I had seen that one like when I was little and I didn't remember it, but then I watched it for ironically enough my Halloween movies
I
this
did too.
year because I feel like that falls in the same category of A Nightmare Before Christmas. And I just fell in love with it. It's so great.
Cool. So Chad, what is going to be your adjacent pick? You get it right now.
Right. Let me pull my list back up.
Yeah.
So I'm
There's
just
a lot of good ones.
I'm just glancing through. All right. So I am gonna go with one that I don't know. I don't know if anyone here has seen. But this is kind of like a, outside pick, I guess. That I'm just doing because I saw it, I think last year for the first time, and I loved it because I thought it was so awesome. It is a Christmas horror movie that I adore. I think it may be the best Christmas horror movie, and it is not an older one; it's a newer one. It's called Better Watch Out.
That was going to be my honorable mentions.
Oh,
I watched it 2 days ago for the first time.
Perfect.
Better
Okay.
And it is adjacent, right? It's more horror with some Christmas elements in it.
I would say the nature of it being Christmas horror makes it adjacent for me.
That's totally fine. Yep, I'm just making sure. Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I've never heard of it.
It is adjacent. I would say.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you've seen any movie like Halloween or The Babysitter. It's kind of like that with the Christmas tint to it.
Nice. I gotta see this.
And
The
it's
Babysitter.
like, I don't want to spoil anything because there's stuff that happens that you might not expect, and it's really brilliant. It's there's a lot of great acting in it, a lot of great horror stuff. I will say there's some Home Alone vibes to it, is all I'll say.
Zach sold.
Which is another reason why I adore it. But yeah, I think it's because it's a movie that kept me guessing. I didn't know what to expect next the whole movie. It was scary, disturbing, brutal as all hell, and just like really fun. So
so I watched it 2 days ago for the first time. I watched it blind. I did not watch a trailer.
Same.
I didn't even see what it was about. I saw on a list of Christmas movies. it was pretty high on a list of Christmas movies, and so I was like, quality wise, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna check this out. So I watched it completely blind. Everyone do that because you don't.
Yes,
because
please.
I watched the
Okay.
trailer after,
Say no more.
and it.
Yeah.
I watched the trailer after, and it gives stuff away.
Okay, I'm excited. Kelsey and Zach, do you want to watch it together, the three of us, since we've never seen it?
Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
all right.
Awesome.
Just know,
I'm down.
all you need to know is it's a Christmas home invasion movie.
And it's
I love it.
it's like a quick 94 minutes. So
Yeah.
Oh, even better.
And it's
We'll do it right after this. Okay.
And it's
Thanks, Young.
it reunites the two stars from The Visit.
yes,
Yeah.
right.
And
Oh, like The
it's-
Visit,
That
like
movie about the
Shyamalan?
grandparents?
Shyamalan,
Yeah.
It
Oh!
reunites the brother and sister.
like,
it
I'm gonna put
reunites
you in the
them.
oven.
Yeah, that.
Love that movie.
Oh wow.
Wait,
Yeah.
Kelsey, you've seen that movie?
No, but I've seen trailers.
Right, because that was one I brought up on
And
our
she's
31
like, get in
days.
the oven.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that's one I recommended on our 31 days of Halloween. I was like, you gotta watch this, and you're like, oh, that sounds interesting. That was like
yeah.
one of my top five,
The
remember?
two
No, I
kids
know.
from that are in this movie as well. They aren't
Oh, that's cool.
brother and sister still, but they're
Cool.
but yeah, it's
I love it.
and
That's awesome.
yeah, it's so good. And I saw it the other day, and it was on my honorable mentions.
Amazing.
And it was good. It's good.
Cool. So Matt, what are you gonna do? You're gonna round us out with our special short or TV episode. And if you
Okay.
take mine, I'm gonna cry on air. I will tell you right now.
I actually have a few that I choosing between because like animated, like the list of ones that I like love is really short. So I'm actually gonna not go in order of how I have it on the list. I'm just gonna kind of go out there and go based on what I think will be good on the graphic, which is interesting. It's not gonna be yours, I'm sure. It is from season 2. Episode 7 of Black Mirror. It's White Christmas.
Oh, nice.
I love that
um,
pick. Love that pick.
I've
never seen it, but I love how edgy it is. Ooh.
Here's the thing. I had a lot to choose from, and I'm kind of kicking myself for skipping a couple of them. But here's the thing. Like, I wasn't going to pick this, and then I brought up the Wikipedia to be like, if I do choose this, what do I talk about? And I was like, I forgot how much I love this episode. It's just broad strokes it's Black Mirror, so it's 15 minutes from now type of situation. And it's basically, most of it is just like people talking to each other, which is like my favorite genre of thing. It ends in one of the most terrifying. It's subtle, like it doesn't seem like, you don't think about how terrifying or how awful the experience would be until you see it and then think about like what that would be like for you. It ends with one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most horrible things that could happen to you. So I recommend everybody watch it
now.
And not in a
Black Mirror.
It's not in a and this was basically a special. Like, this was, I mean, they're all they're all standalone, but this one they kind of released on its own because it was a holiday special. So yeah, you can just watch it. But I really enjoy this. I'm gonna watch it again because it's been a little while. But yeah, I really like it. And on the graphic, it's got to be just the picture of John Hamm because he's in it.
Yeah, I'll do it. Anyone else? Black Mirror. I've never seen this particular episode, but anyone else?
I am terrified of Black Mirror because it's a little too real for me, so I don't watch it.
Cool.
But I know my wife loves this episode, so I take your word for it, Matt.
Cool. Anyone else?
I
I
can't
remember.
Okay,
I
go ahead.
can't remember it specifically, but I just remember like when the plot twist hits, it's like my life was like shattered.
Oh my god, I'm watching this tomorrow. It sounds so good. Chad, anything else to add?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I can't really remember the episode, but I just haven't super been a fan of Black Mirror. But I might have to check out just this episode.
Yeah,
It's
do it.
with John Hamm, isn't it?
John
Yeah.
Hamm and Rafe Spall are the actors.
Ooh.
I think
Yes.
I have
Yeah.
seen this one.
Yeah.
All right.
Was it in like a cabin or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, then I did.
All right. So Kels, you're adjacent. This is going to be the last adjacent
Okay.
of the day, right? No, Zach still has one. So, what is going to be your adjacent, Kels?
It feels kind of anticlimactic to end on this one, but because I was so excited about my special pick, my community pick.
And it was a good pick.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go with this movie. There's so many iconic elements of this movie. This movie, I feel like, is in so many people's hearts, like across the board. So many people love it, all age groups, all gender identities, everything. And it's Mean Girls.
Mm.
And
Oh, I love that pick.
it's solely
Interesting.
for
Oh,
the Jingle Bell Rock
man.
number, which
Yeah.
is one of the most
Oh,
iconic scenes in that
man.
number.
Ah,
And Jingle Bell Rock, like you can't. I feel like I listen to that song and I just instantly think of Mean
yes,
Girls. Like
yes.
like
With
you
the
don't
record
listen to
keeps
that song
skipping. Yeah, in the
exactly.
Yes.
frosty
Yes.
air. Yeah, I love it.
And then they all start
Yes.
singing it together. It's this great moment, very reminiscent of Elf, dare I say, where they
That is
all
a
start singing the
great
song when
fucking
the
moment.
CD stops playing. And granted,
Okay.
this is literally the only Christmas element of that movie, so it's like
That's what
it's
this
kind of
category's
it's
for.
kind of a
Yeah.
stretch, but
That's why it's
I
adjacent.
feel good in that pick because
Love it
you
pick.
you
Love the
can't
pick.
go wrong.
Great.
Another one on
I
Zach's list of movies that are also musicals, like Elf and like
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Christmas Story.
I love this pick, and let me tell you that I had come up against this. That I was thinking, can I include coming of age movies, which generally take place over a school year, because they all include Christmas in some capacity. So the way I kind of narrowed it down is if the Christmas scene is iconic or is a major plot point, like through like a major thing happens, like I have one Love Simon as one of my adjacent audible mentions, because although it takes place over the whole school year, he comes out at Christmas. Like,
Mhm.
so that's
Yeah.
like that's a big thing. So that was my criteria, and I think that qualifies because that scene is so iconic that I think it does qualify.
Yeah, for sure. Great
And it's
scene.
great.
Great scene, great movie.
Great idea.
All right. Zach, you've been hyping this up. I'm interested to know. Like,
Well,
what
I
is
mean,
what is going to be your
I hype
adjacent?
it up. It's not really Dylan. I would Dylan. What do you think my adjacent is? Because I haven't mentioned it yet. But
When you said
I would
season of television, I just assumed
no
because you were wearing
no.
that
So I will tell
sweater.
you. Well, hold on. So I will tell you that this is an honorable mention. People have already picked their adjacent. It is not a season of television.
No.
But Dylan, I would argue that in this call, you know me probably the best. So knowing me the best, what do you think I've picked as my adjacent?
I think you picked the first film of an 8-film series that takes place in
You're
Britain
so
at
right.
a school called
You're so
Hogwarts.
right.
Is that correct?
It is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
I knew.
Crazy.
And I knew that I will say
I knew it was
the
either
only
going to be you or
person-
Chad, and as soon as Chad picked Better Watch
I was
Out, I was
gonna
like,
say
Zach's taking it.
I was nervous because Chad started off talking about adjacent, and I was like, oh, I don't know, and then you swapped it, which I was you swapped to it was actually Gremlins you were talking about. I'm gonna really try hard not to get emotional when I talk about this because this, I mean, Dylan knows and Kelsey pretty much knows, and I've talked about it a bunch on the channel. But like, this series is so important to me. It is like quintessential to probably most. Everyone's always like, "Don't make Harry Potter a part of your personality," but for me, it's really, honestly, and truly impossible because it is so much of who I am. Not because like, oh, I can talk about the books for hours, but because it fundamentally shaped me as a person. And I have such a struggle because I wish the author wasn't who she was, because God Almighty, she really has ruined it for so many people. But for me, I didn't start loving Christmas the way that I love Christmas. I have really great memories of like, but like, how much do you remember when you're 5 or 4 or even 3? But this came out right around a time when I really could start comprehending. And Christmas is not a fundamental part of the movie. And like the Happy Christmas Ron is probably Daniel Radcliffe probably some of the best moments he has in that film are in that scene. Because just like the first time he ever says like, I've got presents. And you're just like, your heart, it melts. And the sweater, I have a sweater with a Z on it. Like but for me, that movie is to me like it is when I started loving Christmas because every element of it made me excited. And like, I wasn't like a sad kid by any means, but I was very painfully shy. And that movie is one of the first things that pushed me to come out of my shell. And so for me, the Christmas season is not A Christmas Story, Home Alone, anything that I've picked or we've picked. It's that movie. And I will say, like, this has been one of the harder Christmas seasons. There's just been a lot that's happened in the last 2 years that, you know, we don't need to harp on. But I actually haven't watched it yet. And because I haven't watched it, I'm feeling less in my... So tomorrow... I'm home alone tomorrow. But I'm gonna get I'm gonna get food and I'm gonna watch it, because to me, like, Christmas and the Christmas spirit is like had in just a nice little gift wrap package in that movie. I could talk about it forever, but I'm sure we'll do a Harry Potter draft day at some point.
Oh yeah,
and I can't wait for that.
And I know it means a lot to the man above you, so I'll let Chad say a little something about Harry Potter.
Chad gets
Philosopher's
it, man.
or Sorcerer's Stone, depending on where you are.
Stone,
I mean, I could go on forever about that movie alone.
Yes,
the books, the rest of the films. I could just go on all day. I loved hearing those words from Zach because it's beautiful. You know, the franchise does mean a lot to so many people. It's one of those where it's divorced from the author now. It's special for you no matter who that person is.
Agreed.
It's extended beyond it. Yeah.
And yeah, that specific film I adore. I don't necessarily like associate it with Christmas in my head, even though it's totally a Christmas movie if you want to think about it that way. Because it does have a beautiful scene. I love that Christmas scene when he gets the invisibility cloak and all that.
Yeah, man.
The movie
and it's a quintessential plot point. It's a quintessential plot point.
It actually covers both. I'll go over that one.
And the movie is just so perfect. It's the most quotable of them. And it's just one of the perfect, like, you know, kind of hero's journey, whatever. We watched it at the Merriweather Post Pavilion near us, where there was the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra did the John Williams score. And it was so fun because it was an outdoor theater, and they were like, you know, make sure you cheer for your heroes and boo your villains, even though I always kept wanting to applaud for Tom Felton because I love him. You know, it was just one of the most magical experiences. And just being 11 at the time, like the same age that Dan Radcliffe was and Harry Potter was when that movie was coming out, nothing can really match it. And like even waiting for those books to come out and just be, you know, I can't even imagine ever like being so excited for a book to come out.
No.
Nothing will ever rival it, I don't think.
No, it is.
Love it. Love the thing.
I was gonna say, I don't know if it's late at night, but both of you making me cry.
And I'm mad I didn't pick it. I forgot about it.
Like getting well-eyed in the tears, teary-eyed. I don't know. Matt, what do you have to say? I'm gonna let everyone talk because everyone here loves Harry Potter spoilers, but I know especially like Chad and Zach are two of the biggest fanatics I know about it. Just like Kelsey's one of the biggest Marvel fanatics I know, and Zach. But you know what I mean. Like, but Matt, you go next.
Harry Potter also means a lot to me. I've read the books so many times and I love the movies. And anyway, I was out of high school before I got into Harry Potter, but I do remember going to a midnight release, standing in line for the 6th book because that was the first one that came out after I started reading them.
Nice,
but anyway, that's not neither here nor there. That movie does fit the two criteria for Christmas adjacent, which is that it's iconic because until my mother shuffled loose this mortal coil, she said every Christmas, "Happy Christmas, Harry."
Happy Christmas, Ron. Happy Christmas, Ron.
Happy Christmas, Harry. Yeah, my mom said
everyone's
it.
Getting Harry Potter memorabilia. I love it.
Until she passed away, every Christmas that she said that. Number 2, it's important to the story because he gets a freaking Deathly Hallows spoiler. From
what?
For Christmas. It's a great film. It's nearly a perfect adaptation, which is hard to come by.
So good.
So yeah, it's I don't have any merch within
Oh, it's okay. I happen to have my book and VHS copy of Prisoner of Azkaban handy from like
God,
just
that's
because I have
cool
all my like props.
dude.
Yeah,
That's
no,
my
I have a
favorite
VHS.
book and movie.
And
from
it's
the
actually
Christmas
like
stuff.
an orange. It's an orange one.
That
I
is
don't
so
know.
cool. It's like
Um,
Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
I can't find. I don't have any memorabilia.
You do
near
not need
me
to show it.
because-
We've all
well,
seen the
no,
picture of your
because-
shrine, Zach.
because it's all in my classroom.
Yeah.
My classroom is entirely
Right.
decorated.
No, that's fine.
My kids, as they're getting me, they're very kind. They're getting me Christmas gifts, even though they absolutely don't have to. But they all like they one of them came in and they were like, "I'm trying to get you something for Christmas," and I was like, "Don't." And they were like, "Okay, but hear me out. The reason I'm having a hard time is because every time I look in your room, you have it already." So like
That's funny.
they literally like
Yeah.
they come in and they're like, "I thought I could get you this, but it's right there," and they'll point at a wand or they'll point at like I got Jelly Belly made a sorting hat, like little like the hourglasses, but with jelly beans. I bought it. I don't need that, but I have it now.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because like all of my stuff here just in these drawers for stuff if I ever want to decorate the back here, and like I just happen to have the VHS and book here. But Kelsey, I didn't let you talk about it yet, but like, what do you love about Harry Potter or this one
I
especially?
mean, that's so sweet. You know, first, I heavily associate these movies with spooky season and with fall
that
and
too.
autumn,
Yeah,
apart
it's witches and
from
wizards. Yeah.
winter and Christmas. Even though there are Christmas elements in this, and I totally respect this as being Christmas adjacent. I'm not arguing with anything, but yeah, this is just such a sweet moment, and I love that it's this movie. You could also even say.
Oh yeah.
Deathly Hallows Part 1, just because that, you know, the scene with
I
his
thought, yep.
the grave,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
also like, oh my god, Harry.
I already hit you
but
with the "Hey Arnold." We needed some cheer for
Yeah.
this one.
I can end you with some
this,
cheer if you'd like,
this is a great
I know.
pick.
because
I respect
I'm
this a
rounding
lot.
it out.
What do you mean?
And every
Dylan?
time,
Can I do
Dylan,
one
I-
more?
yeah, one more.
quick
Go
thing?
for it before I. Oh, go for it.
The one more quick thing is that just because that movie also symbolizes Harry finding home and Harry finding family.
There you go.
Beautiful.
All right,
Dylan, season 2, episode 10. Is that where you were afraid of every single time?
No. Everyone was going season 2, and I'm like, oh no.
I
Because
have
I
no
thought
idea what
as soon
it's
as
gonna be.
Kelsey said episode, I went boom, got it. Because like I have some specials, and I'll rattle them off since we're at the end. I was like thinking like the classics, the Rudolph and all that, but I was also like, there's a kind of animated, the Rankin Bass, and then I thought of Guardians. I thought of the Star Wars one as a fun like camp pick. But then, as soon as she said episode, I immediately thought of what I believe is one of the greatest episodes of television ever. It has nothing to do with the rest of the season. But because it doesn't, it can just focus on character and relationships. It is Ted Lasso, season 2, episode 4, Carol of the Bells.
I haven't watched season 2 yet, so please avoid spoilers.
I will not spoiler it. But the thing is, it has nothing to do with the actual storyline going on in season 2. It's its own separate little thing where Ted and Rebecca are on their own little side mission. Roy and what's her name?
Keely. Keely.
Yes, Keely and Roy are on their own side mission. Like it's all the characters in their own little groups doing Christmas stuff. It has nothing to do with the rest of the season. None of the overarching storylines about this villain turn of anyone else or anything like that. It is all about just characters being with one another and learning what it means to be together and have community and family. It is one of the best things ever, and it lets Hannah Waddingham sing, and she sounds so good when she sings.
Wow.
And it's just Ted Lasso embodies positivity and family and heart. And then they took that and went, let's now add the holiday that encompasses that on top of that, and it's the most beautiful episode of television I might have ever seen. I was so glad when every time you said season 2, it wasn't that, because I really do think like this one was like gonna be my last. I wanted this to be the final pick of the draft, to be like boom, like ended on a high. But all these picks that you guys have taken are so good. I love this episode. I love this show. This episode is probably my favorite episode of the show, and it doesn't have anything to do. You remove it from the show, and it's the same show. And I think that's what's so special about it, is it's extra, but it's the good kind of extra. It's extra that just only makes things better. It doesn't like just take you off to a side plot. It's not. It's like the Breaking Bad episode with the bug. It's like some people say, "I'll just get rid of it," but it's like, or the fly. Well, the fly is a bug. But there's a bug in the lab. There's a fly in the lab, and like people say, "Oh, it's just like such a nothing episode." I'm like, no, but that's where the character is. You take it out of the series, it probably doesn't change the series, but it just adds. It does nothing but add. It doesn't take away. It adds. So that's what this episode is. I love it. So I'm glad I got it here. Yep.
I've never seen Ted Lasso.
Zach, you of all people, I think would love.
I know. Listen. I will tell you a lot of these things. Like I feel like I don't have enough time, and when I
That's
do
fine.
have time, I relish in nostalgia. So
Yeah.
like I
And-
just like
And your
throw
board is
something
just as
on.
beautiful, like with all the nostalgia. I mean, we just went on for how long about Harry Potter, and it was the
I know.
penultimate pick in the draft.
I know
Chad?
Chad's got something.
Yeah.
One quick thing for Zach. I literally just watched this entire show again because I had a Full Metal Random trivia match on it recently, which was really fun. But it's a very quick watch. It's not, and it's really great, especially if you love really great like sports, inspiring sports things. Like my love for Friday Night Lights made me really love Ted Lasso. It's very similar. But I also on my phone have the Carol of the Bells episode pulled up because it was going to be an honorable mention because I didn't think anybody was going to bring this up.
Yeah. And you took
Wow.
my number 2 with Guardians, so I'm glad we were on the same wavelength, Chad.
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't one I was actually going to pick
Mm.
because I had other ones I was thinking of, but like I really wanted to mention this because I was like, this is I agree, is one of the greatest episodes of TV ever made. And for everything you've said, and the one thing that I know you probably would have mentioned if you would have remembered, there's a Love Actually reference in it.
Yes. I don't want to spoil it for Matt, but yes.
Okay.
It's yeah.
That's true.
And my favorite storyline is actually it's the Roy Keeley stuff. I
love that so much. Yeah, it's beautiful and sexy Christmas.
Kelsey, have you seen this or no?
Yes, I have. I don't super remember this episode, but I'm sure everything that you said about it.
If I
is
went
correct,
into a little
because
bit more details
Ted
of the
Lasso
story,
is
it would probably
brilliant.
come back to you. But yeah,
There's
it's so
a
good.
beautiful sing along at some point.
Yes,
is
there
all
is.
I'll say.
And Hannah Waddingham, such a good singer.
Yes.
Matt, any thoughts? I know you haven't seen this episode. But
I haven't seen this episode. I love Ted Lasso, but we haven't. If I just need to get my wife to agree to sit down and finish the show,
All right.
watch these two.
Yeah. So before we get to honorable mentions, I know this has been a long. We're almost at 3 hours, which is our longest draft ever. But again, it's all the hosts. We have a good back and forth and some amazing picks. So I'm gonna go through them. Here we go. Chad's board: Elf, Arthur Christmas, The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, Gremlins, and Better Watch Out. Matt's: The Apartment, The Muppet Christmas Carol, Miracle on 34th Street, The Nightmare Before Christmas, and Black Mirror White Christmas.
Ooh,
Kelsey:
that's a good
The
list.
Polar Express, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Community, Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas, and Mean Girls. Zach:
That's
The
a
Christmas
great
Story,
list.
Home Alone, a Charlie Brown Christmas, Hey Arnold, Arnold's Christmas, and Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And Dylan: Die Hard, It's a Wonderful Life, Klaus, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and Ted Lasso, Carol of
Damn,
the
Dylan, yeah.
Damn, guys.
Boy.
Damn, guys.
all five of us,
We're all
we did
stacked.
a good.
I don't
So
know.
good.
We're all stacked, and there's some
Yeah,
that we
man.
left off. I'm just gonna
A
go
lot.
off really quickly because my honorable mentions. My deepest one was classic. I still have on my list The Bishop's Wife, Shop Around the Corner, The Man Who Came to Dinner, White Christmas, as Chad mentioned, Meet Me in St.
Man
Louis.
who came to dinner.
Yeah, and then
Mm.
the one we also mentioned, Charlie Brown Christmas, Rudolph was on there. Yeah. Anyway, let's just go in order of around for classics. Chad, any other classics that we haven't mentioned?
No.
All right, Matt.
White Christmas, The Thin Man, which I also is on my Christmas adjacent.
Oh yeah.
It's a great movie, but I really Nick and Nora as characters are really the thing about that, and it's not Christmas, so that's why it's kind of lower on my list.
Yep. Kelsey, any classics left?
Mm-mm.
All right, Zach.
Yeah, National Lampoon, baby. I can't believe that
Oh,
went on.
yeah.
Yeah,
The great movie.
485?
it might have been around the cutoff. It might have been before.
It was
No,
80,
it's-
it was
it's-
89.
Yeah,
Is
I
it?
thought it was later.
It's 89.
Either way, though, great
Modern
movie.
classic.
Great movie.
Oh yeah.
Going on to modern classic though, the only other ones I had, I considered Just Friends, even though it's got some problematic elements, but I still like it. Yeah, I know there's one aspect I don't like of it, of the whole like, oh, you only like him because he's not fat anymore. But the actual humor after that is very funny. I think the hijinks are fun. And then I also did put Love Actually, even though I think that's cliche and it gets worse with time, but I still really kind of love it.
I like it.
Anyone else?
Love
yeah,
Actually is on my honorable mentions.
I was gonna say,
and
Matt,
love the
roll
movie,
roll off your honorable mentions, Matt.
Santa Claus, Love Actually are on my actually that's really the Better Watch Out was on my honorable mentions also. Yeah.
Kelsey, any modern classics left?
No, mine were all
Okay.
mentioned.
Zach?
Yeah, if I was gonna go with if I lost Home Alone, I was obviously gonna go with the Santa Claus, but then also Home Alone 2 Lost in New York is a classic.
Chad?
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, Home Alone 2, The Santa Claus is one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
Bad Santa is one of my all-time
Okay.
favorites, and Jingle All the Way. It's a
Nice,
damn
nice.
classic.
All right, back to animated. I didn't have many left, as I mentioned earlier. Lady and the Tramp and Toy Story were also on my list. But again, Toy Story is a little bit more adjacent because it only comes at the end. But again, it's all about toys, so like whatever. Kelsey, any other animated?
No.
All right, Zach.
67, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Rudolph.
Mm-hmm.
I said Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, and then
Nice.
The Year Without Santa Claus.
That's a good one
That's
too.
that.
Yeah, that's a good one
It
too.
I
just
was gonna
made
bring
my
that up
list.
for shorts.
Yeah, those are all
I was gonna make
specials
that
for,
short.
for on my specials.
Yes,
list.
animated or special. Again,
Yeah,
there's a
no,
lot of
they
crossover.
would have gone on both.
We
with
didn't
that.
have much issue with that on this show, luckily. But
Yeah.
Chad, any animated?
Yeah, my top 2 shorts were Rudolph and The Year Without a Santa Claus, and I'm sad neither of them got picked.
Yeah, if we only had 6 rounds. Matt.
Yeah.
For animated, the top 3 were really the thing. Also, Mickey's Christmas Carol was
That was
the
on
only
my
other
special.
one. Was the only
Yeah,
other one that
same.
I felt.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's a really good version of it, and it's the reason that for most of my life I called Pete the Bad Goofy until I learned what his name was.
Yep.
And Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas is also pretty good.
That's a very good one too. Yeah. So for TV episode / special / short, I also had on my list of obviously Rudolph, the original Grinch. I had the Office Christmas Party episode is very good.
That
Benny,
was the one. That was
Benny
the one I
Christmas
thought
as
you
well.
were thinking about.
Yep. How I Met Your Mother, How Lily Stole Christmas is a really sweet episode. I also love Sopranos episode To Save Us All from Satan's Power. It's got one of the best endings of any episode ever. I freaking love it. And the Star Wars Holiday Special. Where am I at now? Kelsey, any other specials / short / TV episodes?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
The Year Without a Santa Claus. This is the one I was gonna bring up.
Zaddy Christmas, anything?
The holiday armadillo, the one with the holiday armadillo.
Oh, Friends.
Friends.
Oh.
I can't. That was. I was going back and forth between that, Hey Arnold, and the Christmas Party season 2,
Nice.
episode 10 of The Office.
Cool. Chad?
What, for shorts?
Yeah, short specials episode.
Frosty.
Yeah, another good one. Yeah, Maddie?
How the Grinch Stole Christmas was on there. I just wanted to mention because we were talking about how the other one was superior. I agree, except for Boris Karloff's narration really makes that the animated special. That really makes it. A Very Murray Christmas, which is the Bill Murray.
Oh, right.
And Doctor Who: The End of Time, parts 1 and 2. That is Christmas and New Year's specials. And it is the end of David Tennant's run, and very emotional. It makes me cry.
Cool. And now finishing with adjacent, I of course had Harry Potter, as we mentioned. I had Mean Girls at the bottom of the list. I also had Batman Returns, which I was really close to picking. A great film. Iron Man 3 is the one I thought would get picked. Didn't. It's another Shane Black Christmas movie, but I went with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang instead. Eyes Wide Shut. Really interesting Kubrick movie. The Godfather has some scenes during Christmas, and of course, The Bear That Came to Life Because of a Christmas Wish. Ted was also on my list. Chad, we're back to Zach now. Zach, any adjacent picks left?
Yeah, I mean, I had Hawkeye on there just from recency bias. I can't. That's what I was alluding to with Die Hard.
Right.
But and then
we all know.
Also, I did have. All right, man. And then I also had Stranger Things season 2, which I until I was putting on the Christmas sweater today. I was like, oh my god. The snowball. It's literally Christmas. It's an integral part of the story.
I forgot. Even though you were wearing that shirt, I forgot about it. When you were saying a whole season of TV, I was thinking Hawkeye the whole time.
Oh,
so
see,
I forgot that Stranger Things season 2 was
Stranger Things.
But I would have allowed either one because I'm in the Christmas spirit.
I didn't do season 2 because it's arguably, I think, the weakest season as a whole. But the best performance by Noah Schnapp in the whole series so far.
Yeah, he's really good. Nice. Chad, any adjacent?
Oh yeah, I got a whole thing here. Black Christmas.
That was the other one by Christmas Story director.
There's a lot of other horror, but I want to throw out. I recently saw Violent Night, and I adored it. And then there's some ones that came out in 1994 that I found out I really like is The Ref and Mixed Nuts.
Yeah,
are really good.
Yeah, Mixed Nuts is great. Yeah.
And then some other horror ones. You got Silent Night, Deadly Night, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, and then you have Rare Exports. P2 is really good. And then also, we mentioned it briefly. A Christmas Story Christmas. I thought was really great, really fun sequel that I think is just like maybe a little bit better than the original, actually, I think. But
Wow.
I don't know, I adore it.
I would have
Matt?
vetoed most of those and said they were Christmas movies, not Christmas adjacent. Because
Horror, I
most
would've-
of those
yeah.
were about Santa.
True.
It would have been on. It's fine.
So you agree?
No vetoes.
I'm
We're
saying
not-
I would've-
Christmas movie has to involve Christmas in the plot of the movie.
But if
so
it
you
d-
agree?
yeah.
Oh,
Die Hard.
Kelsey.
Yeah, it
It's-
does.
yeah,
We do.
Okay,
This is
so
Hagrid.
Christmas adjacent. I've got
Hi, Hagrid.
for Christmas adjacent. I've got In Bruges,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Castaway,
Oh, okay.
Thin Man, which is also in my classics section, and Love Simon because I love that movie and
Great
the
movie.
important part happens. Christmas.
Kelsey.
My backup, if I didn't get Mean Girls, is going to be Edward Scissorhands.
Great
Another
movie.
great pick. Yeah.
Couldn't
no-
believe that went unpicked.
I was gonna say the biggest snubs. I couldn't believe Iron Man 3 didn't get picked just because Matt.
Yeah, that was on my list too.
All four of you as MCU people, I was like, wow. But it just goes to show there's so many good movies.
No, Matt doesn't like the Marvel movies.
Oh,
Matt
that's
Fisto
right.
doesn't. Matt does.
That's true.
So
Two
it is.
different
It is very late. We're almost at 3 hours, so I'm not gonna like make you guys go through and plug yourselves. You can find all these people on this
You can
channel
plug
and
yourself.
in their videos. No, well, I'm okay.
Good one.
Fine. Okay. Picture this. Picture this, Frame Wreck, Marvel's Movie Mondays, Recipe for Reality, and then they all are on Marvel Trivia. Chad has his own channel where he ranks things. Matt is on Twitter as well, a Mattman VIII, I think something like that. XXXII, sorry. Kelsey has her own channel as well and her own TikTok, which is really great. Zach is also on TikTok doing great things and has some YouTube videos as well that he sings in, and he does very good singy songs. And he's a teacher, so if you're in his class, give him a good old present that
You're in
isn't
my
Harry
class.
Potter related.
Click off the video.
Yes. Go to bed. Yeah, everyone, thank you so much for doing this. This was awesome. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. If you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you still had an enjoyable time watching us fight over a movie that is
Merry Christmas.
not worth fighting about because it's just very good. We're all big fans of all these movies, and all the movies that we haven't seen, we made some good recommendations for. So thank you all so much for watching. Have a very safe and happy holidays. We'll see you next time.